Boom shakalaka. Hey everybody, how's it going? How was your week? I'm feeling a lot better. I feel like I've recovered a lot since last time, so I shouldn't be all tired and you know. Catching up on chat here, we have Magus, we have Caladran, we have Nobody in Dungeons. So it looks like we can get the party started. Yeah, I'm getting more dropped frames today. Jesus, I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on here. I was just checking my stream page to see if there was any like mismatched settings. I know OBS just recently had low latency, ultra low latency, or normal latency. OBS just recently had an update that might have changed my settings on me. So I am trying to get on top of that now. I think last week we had almost 50% dropped frames, and now we're creeping up. We're up around 30% right now. We started around 10%. And it was going down, but now it's going back up. Haster and Haven Birch. Welcome, welcome. Don't recognize the Haven Birch name, but welcome aboard. Just looking at stream. Oh, this says the stream is excellent and healthy. Okay, but I'm getting all kinds of dropped frames. That's YouTube telling you it wants you to jump to Twitch. Yeah, I mean, that's a time and energy thing, and time and energy are the two things I don't have a lot of right now. Most mods, okay, we got the Steam versus GOG. Silent Echo, welcome, buddy. Minotauro Hootrum, welcome. Another name I don't recognize, but glad to have you for sure. Let's see, the main thing here is if I'm getting a lot of dropped frames, it's usually a mismatch between your stream latencies here. And that's, stream latency is like how, you know, up to date the stream is coming from my computer to your computer, and also keeping chat up to date with what I'm doing. And I have it on low latency, which is the middle setting, and it looks like OBS has changed that setting just a little bit. So yeah, we have low latency, we have this set at low latency, we have high quality, ultra low latency, and low latency. So I have low latency here, that matches. Bitrate is at 5,000 kilobytes, which should be plenty. I'm pushing over 5,000 kilobytes. I can, or kilobits, I can change that, but I should have plenty. Having this set lower to what your upload is shouldn't make a difference at all, but setting it too high could cause buffering, and it's definitely not too high. Yeah, my upload speeds are stable. They're looking good. Yeah, I'm way under where my upload speed should be, so that should be good. Outputting to 1080p should be 30 frames per second. I could try another YouTube ingest server like the backup one, but I have to start the stream all the way over. Kind of surprised I don't have voice chat open. Oh man, that's too chaotic for me, man. I'll probably never do that. I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm never going to do like a podcast style thing. I think I said hi a while ago, but haven't kept up. I've lurked now and then. Hey, no problem. No problem. You're welcome if you want to talk, if you want to lurk. No problem whatsoever. Just happy to have you. Have a good time, however you do that. And there's the wind and a reef. Hossein, welcome, welcome. Hope you're having a good start to your weekends. Yeah, for me, just having an open chat during streaming is, first of all, I probably would not want to watch or be participating in a stream like that, just because too many voices all at once kind of it's too chaotic for me. As long as we have like one person talking and everybody else kind of chiming in, I feel like that's ideal for these kind of situations. What is the Discord, by the way? Well, I don't have my own Discord. I don't want to do the babysitting thing while I'm working throughout the week. To be completely honest with you, is why I don't have my own community outside of what YouTube manages here. Magus has a Discord, which I think he just recently opened up. I could post the link for that. And then there's a number of other ones. There's the Ireshot Discord. There's a normal people Discord, which is pretty Starfield centric. It's not Skyrim centric. If you can't talk about Skyrim without talking shit on Skyrim, that's not the Discord for you. You'll probably get flamed out of there pretty quickly. I am also on Maldaroth's Discord, Boone's Discord, Icarus's Discord, Laughing Simon's Discord, EJ's Discord, Big Head's Discord, Character Crusade Discord, and Bayofish Discord, which has been pretty inactive for a long time, so there's a lot of them. Yeah, Magus, if you want to post the link to your Discord, if not, that's fine. If you want to post I will make you a Discord server. No, that's okay. If I do the Discord server thing, I'll do it on my own. There's certain things I've been kicking it around in my head a little bit. I'm trying to figure out ways to to keep it tenable, you know, but I wanted a place to kind of post my build ideas and what my build pipelines are and things like that. Oh, you did hear from Bayo this morning. That's cool. I miss Bayo. He must have some kind of like crazy, interesting, busy life. I think he's actually like the equivalent of a 911 dispatcher, but in Austria. So I can see how work would get crazy and stressful for him. And then he's also got a very active, I want to say active personal life, but he gives himself a lot of like projects. He loves doing like the technically artistic stuff. I know he does like 3D modeling and plays a lot of other games. It just kind of dips his toes into the Skyrim scene every once in a while. What is this? The stream's current bitrate of 32 is lower than... Yeah, I keep getting dips. Man, this is crazy. I got to figure this out. I'm going to have to do some test streams during the week. And with the holidays coming up, I should have some time off and have some time to piss fart around with this that I don't have currently. But in the next... probably in the next couple... I'm trying to see... I think I have to work all next week. I think, but then the next 2 weeks I should be. I should have some time off coming up for the holidays. Yeah, we got shout outs and everything going on. Good. Yeah, but my Discord ideas, I've been kicking around that in my head, and I want it to kind of be like build idea centric, and I wanted it to be like a place to like have like a living document of like these build ideas that I have for the future, like way in the future, because I just don't have the time to execute on these build ideas that I have. I have like, I don't know, hundreds of them. Way more than enough to keep me busy until Elder Scrolls 6 and then probably even beyond, honestly. But just have like a living document of, okay, this is the build concept, and then kind of the role play stuff, and then how I envision the gameplay, and then I'll start fleshing out from there what skills to use, what equipment to use. Yeah, kind of like Skyforge, but if we put it all in Discord, that's kind of an easy place to manage it and have like a live feedback on it. I don't want to make it an open Discord though. I kind of want there to be some kind of gatekeeping done on it, which I feel very conflicted about because I don't want to like charge people to come into the Discord, but also putting a monetary gate on it is like the best way to like keep the numbers limited and keep the moderation like tenable. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. It's one of those things that is in my to-do pipeline that I still have to flesh out and get all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, or the T's dotted and the I's crossed. Before I execute on it, if I execute on it. I still have to decide, you know, how much time and energy I have to sink into this. It's like paywalling a mall. That's exactly why I'm conflicted on it. You'd never do that, I know. I really would not like to do that, but then I don't know. There's got to be some other way to keep the floodgates from opening up and just having a moderation fiasco that I don't have time for. I don't know. Well, I'll have to think about it. It takes more. I really don't want to pay for it. I don't want people to pay for it. That's why that's why I haven't done it yet, honestly. Keeping it to invite only tends to work well. Yeah. Could do that. Yeah, Northern Kingdom was private for a long time. All right, Silent Echo has some stuff here. Let's see here. So I think I'm going to start off. Oh, maybe I can make a community server to talk about it till then. Loose rules and invite exclusive. Just, I mean, okay, so my content is completely open. I'm not restricted. If you want to do one of my builds and put it on YouTube, make a video about it, I would ideally for you to credit me and link to my channel. But anything that I put out on the internet, I consider like free reign, right? I don't do what you want with it, right? You can mash up my videos or my streams into something else, as long as you're not like making AI make me say like racist shit and stuff, then I think we're okay. But yeah, I don't want to dissuade you from doing your own Discord community. Go ahead and do it. I'm not going to say no to you on that. The only hesitation I have with that is I have the workings of an idea, but even like the workings of ideas in my head are probably vastly more fleshed out than this. I'm not trying to say that as like a weird flex. It's just how my brain works. So I have like this really well-defined thing that I'm working on in my head for how I do this community, how I want it to be structured and how I want it to work. So that's kind of my only hang up on it, is that if you do this thing and then I come out with something else, then they might be conflicting a little bit. But absolutely, I don't want to. You're not going to be stepping on my toes if you want to make a private community based on my content. That's fine. I think it would be fun just to talk to people on stream. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and for what it's worth, though, I think we are the vast majority of us anyway are on these different Discords, sharing ideas, and you know, as a Skyrim-centric Discords, they tend to be probably a little less active than most other Discords that are game-centric, just because this game's really old, and most of the communities revolve around some of the big Skyrim YouTubers like Slack. I don't know if Fudge Muppet has an active Discord community or not, but I would be kind of surprised if they didn't. Gopher has an active community still. You know, that's usually where the Skyrim community goes. Icarus is here. Welcome, welcome. Hey guys, Icarus just launched. Let me see here. He launched his Vampire Necromancer Let's Play character just recently. Go ahead and post a link to that here. I want to sit here and watch the whole thing because I don't want to steal views from him or whatever, and we have other things to do in this stream, but yeah, let's get rid of this here. Do want to give him a shout out. Skypothesis is active. That's awesome. I might hop onto that one myself because those last two builds they put out were really, really good. Speaking of Skypothesis, Karn, you're too nice. You know, I do what I can. I do what I can. World needs more positivity these days. Let's spread it, huh? Let's pay it forward. When we getting a monk build? Yeah, so Icarus and I were talking on another Discord about how the secret level Prime series, where they do these like little 15-minute vignettes of different video game universes. There's a super high quality animation, like computer generated cinematic stuff, highly cinematic, but they're not really telling complete stories. They're just kind of giving you a glimpse into this world and like a different perspective of it. The first ones was Dungeons and Dragons, and there's this dwarf monk that was just doing all these kung fu moves, and he'd like, there was this arrow that got shot at the mage that he was protecting. He grabbed the arrow, spun around, and threw it back at the guy who shot it, and like just embedded the arrow in the dude's head. And then he's like sliding around, like dislocating knees with his punches. It was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah, Vampiric Necromancer, Icarus. So I know that there's some vampire and some Necromancers fans in there. Icarus's character concepts are, you know, right up there with Couch Warriors in a lot of respects, I would say. Very interesting, very well fleshed out, and you know, he traverses Skyrim with these characters, and he deep dive into their psyche and what makes these characters tick. And then he's always top notch on getting these characters to look cool, and then integrate the gameplay ramifications, like tangible gameplay ramifications that match up with these character concepts. Trying to get a shot of the vampire here in his duds. Here we go. Kind of a good shot there. It looks like he has not become vampiric yet, so this is probably like a little intro vignette or something. Before here's go, and there we go. Very dark and skulking. The intro was good. Awesome. Yeah, looks like people are liking it. Icarus, I think you got an instant classic on your hands here. And then this is right after his Ashaba introduction too, which I really liked. All right. So yeah, we talked about Discord and the ideas I had. So yeah, no, but if you want to spin up a Discord, go ahead and go for it. But at some point, I might do one. That's kind of more what I had in mind, and I don't want you to take it personally if I do that. I'm not trying to like undo your work or redo your work or anything. It's just that I have a project in mind for how I want that thing to work. I'm trying to flesh it out. All right, what else we got? Okay, let's take a look at news. We do have some news this week. Covenant. This one just randomly kind of showed up on my YouTube feed, and it looked really good. So this is an FPS game, but told in a dark setting. There's a lot of melee combat in it. So think like, I don't know, Doom Eternal meets Dark Souls. It looks like a lot of hot, frenetic, like action. Unreal Engine gives me pause. I'll talk about that later. I've had it with freaking Unreal Engine, man. He has some highly credentialed developers on here. Doom, Halo, Call of Duty, Battlefield. So anybody who's done anything in the FPS industry, and you know, you may have misgivings about how some of these companies monetize their products. That has nothing to do with the developer. That's all 100% publisher trying to figure out how to make money off of what the developers do. These are the developers, so you know that the gameplay and the shooting mechanics and the difficulty balance and everything is going to be top notch. This looks cool as hell, and I have never heard of this until this just randomly popped up on my feed. So yeah, people who are lamenting the fact that the dark grim fantasy genre is kind of or underrepresented these days might really like this. This looks cool as hell. Dark fantasy stuff, really awesome gameplay. Looks like we got some awesome boss fights and stuff here. Ambiance for days. We got melee combat. We got shooting combat. Things look cool as hell. Any thoughts on the Game Awards? I was going to get to that. I'm going to get there. Actually, I thought the Game Awards were pretty good. I thought they were better this year than they have been in the last few years, honestly. Fantasy John Wick, kinda, yeah. Which, you know what, I'm there for it. Now, I'm not sure if we get a release window for this or not. This is a really short teaser trailer here. It's probably 2025, I'm guessing. If not 2026. But yeah, I'm interested. I don't know yet if I'm excited. I need to learn more about it. I need to, you know, see more trailers and things like that. And then, of course, I need Digital Foundry to tell me how the thing runs, because every single, well, not every single one, but most of the Unreal Engine games that I've played recently have just been complete shit tier PC ports, including one game that won a lot of awards. What the hell? Did I click on big picture mode somehow? I don't think I clicked on that at all. All right. Give me a second here. Just exit big picture mode. Jesus. I've been clicking that more and more recently, and I don't know how that's happening. Black Myth Wukong. Good game. Lots of fun. Excellent visuals. Runs like complete dog poop on PC. It's so optimization is fine. I get a pretty good FPS. Frame pacing is all over the place. Even if I have it locked at 60 frames per second, the frame timing in each one of those frames is all over the place. It's a juddery, stuttery mess, and I'm about ready to give up on it. I've had to actually install this thing called Special K, which kind of injects itself. It acts as a wrapper for the game, kind of like a reshade or like an ENB does for Skyrim. It gives you like an overlay for how to mess with like visual settings and stuff. And I had to run with Special K. I had to, within Special K, restrict my monitor to 120 hertz. I had to basically spoof my 165 hertz monitor as a 120 hertz monitor. Then I had to lock the game at half of that refresh rate, which ends up putting it at like 59.86 milliseconds or something, or frame or hertz. And then that would give me a stable frame time, a flat frame time graph. And then at least if I were standing still, I wasn't getting any stutters. Without that, even just standing still, the game stutters like hell. And then as soon as you move the camera or load into a new area, even with this implemented, you start stuttering again. As soon as you move, as soon as you enter a new area, you get traversal stutter, you get shader compilation stutter. It's an absolute mess. And from what I hear, it's not much better on PS5. Yet this thing is still winning awards. So I don't know. I don't know what that tells you. Also, Pacific Drive is another, it's an Unreal Engine 4 game. This was Unreal Engine 5. This is Unreal Engine 4. It's kind of a driving roguelite game. It's a very interesting premise where you drive into this like disaster area that had like this this big catastrophe where these scientific experiments went wrong, and now you're getting like parallel dimensional rifts and things like that, monsters spawning in and stuff. But the main point of the game is to build out this big like National Lampoon's Family Vacation station wagon and drive through these exclusion zones with the upgrades that you've made on your car. And sometimes you have to get out of the car to pick up parts for it and new tools and stuff that will let you upgrade your car. Pretty cool idea, actually, but the again, it's a stuttery mess. It's an absolute stuttery mess, and I have to use the Special K program again to do it. Need that game to run smoothly as well. Yes, because Black Myth Wukong has some very, very timing sensitive stuff. It's all about, you know how Sekiro is all about the timing parry that you have and the stagger meter? This is all about dodging. Perfect dodges give you such a huge advantage in these big, difficult boss fights that, yeah. I might still play through it. It is playable with Special K. It's better than Jedi Survivor was, but yeah, it's not great. The game itself is great. The technical issues is just an absolute mess. All right, what's the next one here? That was Covenant. That one looks exciting. This one is an Unreal Engine title, so we'll see how that goes. There were some good Unreal Engine games, though. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 was really, really good. I didn't have any stuttering or anything with that game, and that was like the best looking game ever. It was done in Unreal Engine 5, so it can be done. RoboCop Rogue City was also an Unreal Engine 5 game. I didn't have any stuttering issues there either, at least once I got the settings set up for that. Hey, there's James. Welcome, welcome. Special K, yeah, it's really hard to search for that tool too. That was something that I learned about on the Digital Foundry YouTube channel. Richard, the boss over there, he was talking about in his Black Myth Wukong review how he had to use Special K to get to get a properly timed 60 FPS cap on it, and that was pretty much the way he could make this as smooth as possible. And it's true, it did help quite a bit for me, but didn't fix everything. All right, next news story is Intel has some new GPUs out, and they're really, really good. So this is an intro level card. This is Richard, by the way. Absolute legend. The Intel Arc B580. This is an entry level card, $50 cheaper than the 4060. 4 more gigabytes of RAM on it. So the VRAM on this is good enough to run most all modern games really at 1440p 1080p easily, and it can even reach into the 4 gig range. The Intel GPUs do have XeSS, which is supposed to be a competitor to DLSS. DLSS is better because it's more mature. They've been able to tweak it and increment on it more often. But XeSS is much, much better than FSR, the AMD software version of the super sampling. This is a huge win for Intel, who desperately needed a win because their CPU market has been tanking bad. But this is an excellent entry-level card. This is great news for gamers because this is basically a no-brainer. If you're looking for a budget card that can handle these brand new games really, really well at 1080p, 1440p, and maybe even dabbling in 4K. It also handles ray tracing pretty well. It has some pretty good ray tracing performance on it, better than an AMD card. And it also has frame gen on it. Now, the frame gen hasn't been completely tested by everybody yet, but from preliminary reports, it works really well. Maybe not as good as NVIDIA's frame gen, but again, it's a lot newer. So this is going to have a knock-on effect in prices, I think. So this is a no-brainer for anybody who wants an entry-level card. So in order to compete, NVIDIA and AMD are going to have to bring their prices down. Otherwise, nobody's going to buy those cards at price point. They're just not going to do it. This is too much of a good deal. So that's going to bring those prices down, which is going to bring prices down on pre-built PCs. It's going to bring prices down in the resale market, the post retail market. On eBay or Amazon Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, whatever. So this is good. This is awesome news. We win for the consumer. It's a recent thing. Didn't know Intel made GPU. Yeah, it's pretty recent. I think a year or two ago they came out with their first generation one, which were pretty good for the price as well. But this one's really knocking it out of the park. I don't think that they're touching on the higher end card market yet, but this is at least bringing the floor down, which was absolutely necessary. The 4060, I think, was like a $300 card. You really wanted the 4060 Ti, which I think was $450 to $500 to get the 12 gigabytes on that. The Intel Arc 580 is actually competing with the 470 at a much less price point than the 4060 is at. So yeah, this is competing with the 4070. It's competing with the 7700 Radeon in a lot of games. Just maybe not quite at 4K, but the 1080p and 1440p benchmarks are pretty good. The only concern about this is driver support. So for new games, they tend to work really well. For some older games, they tend to be kind of crappy. So the one example that that he brought up here was Call of Duty. Yeah, legacy game concerns. Yeah, so Assassin's Creed here, I think this was Assassin's Creed Unity. A lot of people aren't playing these older games. The problem is Intel is so new to the GPU market, and their drivers are so kind of young and immature that they don't have the backlog of those driver tweaks that NVIDIA and AMD have for the vast library of games going back in time. They're kind of focusing on getting the newer, more mainstream stuff up and running. Good news for Skyrim players, these cards work great for Skyrim, so you don't have to worry about that. The BGS games seem to work just fine. So yeah, pretty good looking card too. Very clean, very plain, not a whole lot of bells and whistles, just a damn GPU that you stick in your damn computer and play some damn video games. So yeah, good news, good news. All right, some other good news. Skypothesis is back. We were talking about them earlier, right? Their last two builds, let's see, there was the Skyrim Assassin. I wonder how they got that idea, huh? No, I kind of doubt they watch my channel at all. But that one was really well done. I like that one a lot. And then the last one was the Fisher, the sort of was having the Helm of Worms on it. It was kind of like very Lovecraftian horror type build. The angler that kind of leaned into the fishing stuff. Yeah, this guy. It was very creative. Maybe not my build in the world. I don't know that it would be the funnest thing to play, but still a fantastic build. Very unique, very creative. I liked it a lot. They're announcing now that they're going to have a new build every month for every month of 2025. Let's see if they actually are able to pull this off. I kind of have my doubts. A year is a long time to sustain anything in this game and in the YouTube industry. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. The one thing that I am concerned with is if they're trying to pump out more and more content, then maybe the quality and creativity of these things will suffer. One build a month, which basically means one playthrough a month, is either a very quick abbreviated playthrough or it's something that you're just kind of rushing to the end game for. Yeah, great builds. So I think the Skypothesis was mentioned. They have an active Discord. I'm gonna look into that. Actually, they don't actually even have this linked in their video. Maybe on their YouTube page. Oh yeah, there's a Discord link right there. I'm gonna put their YouTube link in here if you're interested. All vanilla builds, by the way. I don't think they use mods for anything. This is all base Skyrim plus AE official DLC stuff. They don't have to worry about modding. Yep, absolutely. But because it's vanilla, it means that a lot of this stuff is also applicable if you run a modded game. At least in terms of the character concept stuff and a lot of the pieces that you have available to you. Most people who run modded Skyrim are going to have the same pieces available to them. The perks and everything and the gameplay aspects might be wildly different, but for the most part, it's gonna translate well. You can find me at yourboynobody1042. Is that your Discord link? I'm sorry, I missed it. We got a chatty chat today. I like it. But that also means that I'm going to miss some stuff, so sorry in advance. Oh yeah, I don't feel like I need to compete with Skypothesis or anybody else. I put out the stuff that I put out, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I'm not going to chase trends. I'm not going to do the whole Slack drama thing with somebody trying to, emulate what I'm doing or, pay homage to me or whatever. I don't care. I'm not here to compete. I'm here to have fun and share the love for this game. No need for drama. Okay, so Game Awards. I thought this was a pretty good show. Of course, it is, mostly about game announcements than it is about the awards. I don't agree with a lot of the awards. Some of the winners were probably well-deserved. Some of them I didn't really agree with. But Game Awards are all about the game announcements, right? And we got an announcement trailer for The Witcher 4. And this one is going to be starring Ciri as the main character. Now, in my opinion, Ciri was always the main character in these Witcher games. It was just told from the perspective of Geralt. So I don't think this is going to be as big of a shift as a lot of people are thinking, especially because Ciri was a very playable character for some pretty cool parts in The Witcher 3. Some of the interesting things here is Ciri is a full-on Witcher. It showed her drink one of the tonics that only Witchers can handle if they've been through the Witcher ritual to mutate their body to be able to, to increase their metabolism to be able to handle these highly toxic potions that they're drinking to buff themselves up. The chat was kind of crazy because they claimed Biggie was banning people for mentioning they were with Nulvis. Oh boy. Nulvis is power fantasy while Lorim is roleplay based since it's Requiem. Yeah, so yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. This is an Irem versus Requiem, and Requiem is you start real low and then you make your way up, and then an Irem is like, okay, we're gonna let you have some fun. You're gonna get real strong. Things are gonna get crazy real soon. Master Neloth is also making some modded builds now. Yeah, I saw that. Master Neloth is a little bit more like Fudge Muppet, and they kind of don't really touch on the gameplay side of things, which is what I'm most interested in. I like roleplay that is kind of supplemented, or I like gameplay changes. Like, show me how to play this game in a new way, and then give me some roleplay that supplements that. You can build on top of that to tell your story and stuff. Master Neloth is almost like he's 90% story and like 10% gameplay. The problem is Ciri underwent the trial of the grasses, which contradicts the lore. No woman did survive. Well, yeah, but Ciri is not. It's not to say that they couldn't, right? It's just that they haven't. And Ciri is special. Yeah, so that was the thing. My concern with this is that I thought that lore-wise that what was it called, the trial of the grasses, I thought that stuff and the process and the materials needed to create more Witchers was destroyed. I thought that they were not able to create more Witchers. So this is interesting to me. So Ciri is a full-on Witcher now. She's got both swords. She's got the heightened reflexes. She can take the tonics, which make her even stronger. She's got all the training. She was fully trained. It did show a wolf medallion on there. So she's probably still Geralt's protege. Yep, there we go. Shows the mutations. She's also got the Elder Blood, which makes her powerful. So she's probably, damn near ascendancy levels, I would say, right? She is probably a walking god amongst men on this plane of existence. Extremely, extremely powerful, at least in terms of lore. We'll see how they handle that in gameplay. And she's pissed off, so that's kind of scary. Getting stutters here. Yeah, I'm sitting around 33% dropped frames. I'm sorry, guys. I have to fiddle with this throughout the week. I've had bouts with this before. I think it's on YouTube's side because my internet doesn't seem to change. But, I'll go through stretches of 2 or 3 weeks where the dropped frames are crazy, and then all of a sudden it fixes itself 1 week. Geez, Witcher 3.0. Yeah, kind of. Well, in The Witcher, only Yen and late Uncle Vesemir are the only ones who know the process. Okay, so Yen still knows the process, so that at least it's possible. And it's not to be said, it's not saying that they can't find more materials or find the process again. I didn't know that Yen knew. So that leaves things open. I knew about Vesemir, and then Vesemir went away, and, it wasn't really left with much more. So what did you all think of the Game Awards? This, I think, was probably the big announcement, at least for this group, I would say. A lot of Skyrim fans are at least probably partial Witcher fans, and some Skyrim fans like The Witcher better. The Witcher's a great IP, fantastic. I tend to prefer Skyrim myself, but Geralt was Witcher 2.0, series Witcher 3. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I like that. Ciri is likely an exception to the rules because she's Geralt's child. Well, yeah, and especially because a lot of the Witcher old guard is like being killed off and disappearing. So Geralt's new way along with Ciri and Yen and everything. They're kind of probably remaking the Witcher Order as they think it should be. I always thought the reason there were no new Witchers is because they stopped getting orphans. So it's been a long time since I played these games. There was an anime, I think on Netflix, that kind of it went through Geralt's origins, which was pretty cool actually. It was a lot like the Castlevania series in that style. Dark and gritty, but like the cool old school animation cartoon style. It was really excellent. So that kind of went through what the Trial of Grasses was all about. It's absolutely freaking brutal. But I thought there was somewhere in one of the games where Kaer Morhen was attacked. The materials needed to perform the mutations were destroyed or stolen. And the sort of the manuals on the process on how to get through it. And then Vesemir, of course, dying was kind of a nail in the coffin for that. Really looking forward to The Witcher 4. Yeah, so this is also an Unreal Engine 5 game. So we know that Unreal Engine 5 has some really wonky performance. It's stuttery, some bad PC ports in this engine. And we also know that CD Projekt Red does not have a great track record with its releases. The Witcher 3 was a buggy mess when it came out. Cyberpunk, that was famously a bad launch. Both of those games became some of the best games in history, right? Once they fixed them up and everything. But it'll probably be a year or two, if history serves, after release that this actually becomes like a top tier game. So just be ready for that. Either you're going to hop on the train day one and you're going to deal with the bugs, which I did for Cyberpunk. I still loved that game, warts and all, when it released. Or you got to be ready to wait a year or two for them to fix it. I'm not trying to like shit on them and you know, pooping everybody's dinner here, celebrating this new announcement, but that's what history has told us so far with CD Projekt Red, and now that we're adding the Unreal Engine stuff on top of it. I'm not saying don't be excited for it. I'm saying manage your expectations for the state that it releases in. One that I'm excited for is that the kind of surprise announcement. The one with Vesemir being protagonist, that was pretty accurate to the books. Okay, cool. Yes, that was the one. Young Vesemir and a very young Geralt. If they had character creation, I would play it and chose what school to go through. Yeah, that's a very, very big game, though. That's kind of not what The Witcher is all about. The Witcher is more of a linear story structure. They're telling you the story of Geralt and Ciri, and you're kind of just playing along with it. You don't have the player agency that you have like in Skyrim or Starfield or any of the BGS stuff to tell your own story. You're just along for the ride. Which some people, it allows them to tell a deeper story, a deeper, more meaningful story. It also, with that limited scope, allows them to have more freedom with the choice and consequences part of thing about how they're like changing the world. And, you know, the Scoia'tael are taking over this area of the world while the humans are taking over this area of the world. And those can flip and flop and switch depending on, you know, in previous games, what choices you made. Not really going to change the story structure at all, but it does give them some freedom to mess with things that, you know, BGS doesn't have in their games because they have to make sure everything's working together all the time. CDPR was bought out by a greater studio? I did not hear about that. I thought CDPR stayed independent. I thought they were highly independent, and I thought that they were also traded publicly on the Polish stock market, so I haven't heard about that at all. I thought they were completely independent. Please enlighten us with a link to an article if you can find one. No, I don't think they've ever tried. I think it was just always kind of just we haven't put girls through it because we just we just decided not to. But if anybody can do it, it's Ciri. So one that I'm excited for, which was a complete surprise announcement, was Onimusha Warlords from Capcom. They're making a new one. Let's see here. This was a PS2 exclusive. I'll be right back. So I have a boxed copy here. Onimusha Warlords. So this was basically Resident Evil, but with a samurai. Survival horror with samurai swords, different weapons. Kind of like a cross between Devil May Cry and Resident Evil. It's slow-paced and survival horror like Resident Evil is, but with a lot of melee weapons. Slower, like melee weapons, combos, different move sets. You can find spears, different swords. You can find like samurai hammers and cudgels and things like that. A lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I was hoping they'd remake this game for a long time. No gameplay or anything yet, but oh yeah, Onimusha looks good. Yep, it's just kind of a teaser trailer, so I'm looking forward to see more on that. Okami also. Getting Onimusha was a shock, but then getting Okami as well in the same show was like, whoa. The weapons were so good. Yeah, I found that like lightning spear, and I was like, whoa, this is badass. Okay, mod showcase. I only really had one here. Not a whole lot of interesting stuff, at least that I saw this week. But we got some screen space global illumination. Let's see. They made an anime on Netflix about it though, and through the eyes of Miyamoto Musashi. Oh, really? For Onimusha? That's cool. I'll have to check that out. I did not know that. There's a lot of like hidden gems on Netflix about video game IPs and anime. I think they have like a Dragon Age series in there too. Castlevania obviously is a really good one. That if don't sleep on Castlevania, even if you've never played the games, that's a fantastic series. Yeah, so global screen space illumination or screen space global illumination. This is a reshade, a community shaders plugin, I suppose. It requires community shaders, so if you're running E and B, you're unfortunately not going to get this one. But if you're running community shaders, which there is a growing user base for, you're going to get basically ray traced lighting. It's not completely ray traced, but you're going to get the ray traced effects. This is screen space. True ray tracing is going to do off screen, like lighting from off screen as well. But this is going to do bounce lighting. So you see a lot more. This is the brighter one, the more yellow toned one. This is the vanilla lighting. BGS for some reason likes to put a lot of colored ambient lighting in their scenes. And then a lot of the lighting overhauls like RLO and ELFX, they'll remove that ambient lighting for a more darker kind of more realistic look. So this removes the ambient lighting as well. You can see the whole screen get darker, but then you're also seeing better ambient inclusion. So see right here, the light source is coming from over here, and yet somehow this should be in the shadows, but it's lit up in the vanilla game. So with the global illumination here, this is all going to be in shadow. That is realistic. That's how reality looks. And then this whole table over here should be shadowed as well because of the light coming in, being blocked from the shelves, and things like that. So this is awesome. This is much more realistic lighting. It's also easier on the developer because they don't have to go in and touch up ambient occlusion for every single one of these objects, especially in a BGS game where all this stuff, you can pick it up, you can apply physics to it, you can make it roll around and everything, and getting real-time lighting on this stuff is a juggernaut of a problem for a game engine, which, you know, for a lot of shit that people talk about, the creation engine, it handles all of that really, really well, better than any other engine that I've seen. So please, BGS, do not ever switch to Unreal. I will be very depressed if you do that. So this is cool. This is much easier on the developer if you're, you know, even if you're just a mod developer creating new world spaces or whatever. You put a light source in there. You let the engine, the global illumination engine, handle the rest. You're going to get realistic shadows everywhere, realistic ambient inclusion everywhere. It just looks great. Now, some people might actually prefer the ambient lit stuff. I know BGS does, and they've been doing this for a long time. And, you know, their games are super popular. So to each their own. That's why we have mods, right? But to me, the darker one looks a lot better. They're looking to implement CS post-processing to handling everything in one mod preset. Oh, that's pretty awesome. Community shader post-processing. That's sweet. Do you know if there's a mod which allows you to reject lycanthropy in the companions guilds? I do not. Not that I'm aware of. There was like companions for good guys, which got rid of the Farkas's thug quests where you have to go break thumbs for money. And there's some that add more radiant quests before you become harbinger, but I don't know of any that allow you to skip the lycanthropy. The good thing about lycanthropy in the companions quest line is if you really don't want to be a werewolf, you can rush through that part of it in, you know, like 30 minutes. Other news, Karn, they are okay, that's the community shaders. That's awesome. Oh, ESF Companions. I have a ported copy since installed last. ESF Companions. Enhanced Factions Companions. Okay, there you go. Some people know about it. Unreal is still problematic on most hardware currently, isn't it? Well, less so on consoles. Some console, like the Black Myth Wukong console port was terrible. But most PC ports of Unreal that I've played anyway are pretty bad. The problem with Unreal is it's become like an industry standard now where these game development studios seem addicted to scaling their projects up. They want a bigger, more expansive game than their competitors. Instead of working to narrow down the scope and do something well, they want to blow it up because that's how they think they're supposed to market their games, is how big they are, which I think is a giant you know, logical fallacy on their end. I think they're kind of out of touch with the gaming market on that. That's my opinion anyway. But a huge bottleneck to scaling projects up is getting the developers and the engineers that are skilled enough to just drop in and make an impact. So what they're doing is, what they're seeing is that like everybody's learning Unreal because that's been the industry quote unquote standard for a long time. It's free to download Unreal Engine and learn it, and you can make a game completely for free. You can use Unreal Engine, no cost whatsoever. If you're curious about it, download it, install it, start doing some tutorials, learn how to make a game. What they then do is that if you decide to sell that game, they're going to take a cut of it. It depends on, I think, the price of your game or how many people actually buy it, the cut that they take from it. So obviously, if you don't have a lot of sales, they're only going to take like 3 or 5% or something like that. And then as you scale up into thousands, millions of units sold, then they're going to start taking a bigger and bigger cut of it. That's how Unreal, Epic makes its money. That and selling microtransactions in Fortnite, and they basically print as much money as they want doing all that. But because of that, now they have like this huge pool of engineers that, okay, you know Unreal Engine, come on in, help us make this entirely way too big game. So that's how it's kind of become industry standard, and that's how it's expanding. That's why CD Projekt Red wants it, because they need to scale. They have a lot of projects. They've vastly expanded, which I think is a mistake. Personally, I don't want to be a downer during this exciting time where we just got a Witcher 4 announcement, but in my experience in the software industry, expanding the scope of any project or any team or just adding people to it is going to be very, very challenging, and it more often than not ends up in failure. Keep something manageable. If you need to scale, spin something else up. Don't just make things bigger. Pokemon needs to go the other way. Maybe I don't really play Pokemon, but I know that they're probably not going to make any changes. I do know that they're making money hands. They're printing money like Epic is right now. They probably have no need to change anything at the moment, at least with the people who are making the money decisions, at least as far as they see it. I know that like the latest Pokemon games were technical disasters. They ran like crap. A lot of people didn't like that, but they still bought the game because it's freaking Pokemon. The issue now will be interior lighting mods. Will all need patches for the community shade. Yeah, that's kind of the thing with changing technology. In order to make it better, you kind of got to get everybody to translate. Or get everybody to migrate, get everybody on board. Got to update it. Witcher 4 before an ES6. Yeah, that sucks, but yeah, it just is what it is. I mean, technically, we did have an ES6 announcement in 2017, I think. 2017, 2018. We just haven't seen anything else about it. Sell your game for free, then make money on microtransactions. Yeah, that's what a lot of people are doing. That has its issues too. That has some big issues. EA has done massive upgrades for Frostbite. The next Battlefield late next year. I'm seeing the timeline. Yeah, Battlefield always looks really good. I don't always play them, but they always look good. Didn't even know they came out with another new Zelda game where you actually play as Zelda, as the princess. Yeah, that one wasn't like a mainline release. It was kind of more of like a side thing. You realize it's going to be 7 years this year since the yeah, I do. It's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. It's too much. Python hi Adder, welcome, buddy. Okay, so this one looked interesting. Glad to see community shaders expanding, making things look better. Global illumination is awesome. I'm a big fan. Hopefully that makes our games all look better. Cool stuff. Okay. This is a very small channel, JJFXVR. He does Skyrim VR content. Now, I know this is kind of a non-starter for some people because of motion sickness stuff, but this guy's doing some really interesting things in VR. Yeah, I wish he would stabilize his image just a little bit more. It doesn't bother me, but I know for a lot of people it does. Which is weird because motion sickness is something that often really bothers me. I'm usually very prone to it, but watching VR footage on a flat screen does not bother me for whatever reason. I don't know why. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. He actually does builds and let's plays in VR, heavily modded Skyrim VR. So just every time I see stuff like this, I kind of want to try a modded Skyrim VR again. Especially now with the 4090, and I've got my PSVR 2 hooked up with the PC converter. That is working great, much better than I expected it to. So maybe at some point, I'll be able to get back into Skyrim VR with a heavily modded setup with all the cool bells and whistles and physics and stuff. So yeah, if you're into VR content, if you're into, you know, unique, novel Skyrim experiences, he does like I said, he does builds, he does mod reviews and other things in this channel as well. So just another small creator I wanted to give a shout out to. If you're interested in that, go ahead and leave him a subscription. I'm sure he will love that. Okay. I am sweating. I was cold when I came in here this morning, and now it's hitting about noon o'clock for me, and I need to take this hoodie off. I also need to refresh my beverage, so I'm going to take a quick drink, and then I am going to come right back, and we're going to be going through the warrior stuff. We're going to be playing with the Longhammer this time, which was something that I wanted to talk about. So I did a poll in the earlier part of the week, about 4 days ago, asking for the best two-handed weapon in Skyrim. And then Magus got all pedantic on me, and he's like, define best, motherfucker. I was like, whoa, calm down there, buddy. Just trying to get the conversation going. And then Magus just had a murder boner, and he was like, Longhammer's the best, fight me. And I'm like, come on, dude. Anyway, Ebony Blade didn't really surprise me. It has a unique effect on it. It looks really cool. It's attached to a really cool quest line and everything. It's far from the strongest, absolutely, but it does give you some roleplay juice to play with, right? It also has a very fast attack speed on it. Volendrung looks really cool, as Icarus mentioned in the comments. Volendrung looks really cool, but has a very disappointing enchantment on it. I think vanilla just doesn't absorb stamina, which is great. It's an awesome enchantment, but it's a standard regular enchantment that you can put on any hammer, right? Keep you power attacking. I use Zim's immersive artifacts, and it gives you a 100% paralysis effect if you sideways power attack. And sideways power attacking with a slow attack speed like Volendrung has is challenging to find an opening for that, but the enchantment is definitely much more powerful. So this one is actually a lot of fun with Zims. Exactly, pedantic. Yeah, there you go. And then Champion's Cudgel I always liked because it does have a unique model to it. It looks really cool. It's kind of like this giant, massive warhammer, kind of like a meat tenderizer look to it. And it has a really cool enchantment on it, the Chaos enchantment, where you have a random chance of each Fire, Frost, and Shock being procced on each hit. So you might get none of those. You might get 1, 2, or all 3 of them in one hit, which is very cool. This is also disenchantable, so you can unenchant this and apply that enchantment to something else, which I have done on many occasions. It's a lot of fun. So Ebony Blade won the poll, but I think Other won the comments because 3 different people, I think 3, maybe 4, mentioned Longhammer. And Longhammer is cool because it has the highest DPS in the game. It has the same damage values as, I think, an Orcish Warhammer, or maybe even higher than that. But it has the DPS of, well, you're a huge Imperial lover. I play more Nords than anything, buddy. But yeah, okay, that's another issue I have with Skyrim. It's just because it's set in Skyrim, there's like a lot of Nord flavored stuff in it, and I kind of I crave more of that heavy plate look to it. Only orcs should use Volendrung. You could be an orc at heart, though, right? Or a half orc. As long as your mom was not an orc, you probably won't look that much like an orc in the Elder Scrolls universe. So maybe you're an orc. You just don't look like it, right? So yeah, Longhammer. Let's see. Let's duplicate this. Yeah, like I said, it has the Longhammer. Yeah, so it has a base damage of, I think, just a regular Orcish hammer. The base DPS on, or no, I'm sorry, the actions per second on it is much higher than either the Dragon Bone or the Daedric Warhammer. It's more on par with a greatsword, so you get a much faster attack speed with it. So when you multiply damage times the base attack speed, you get a higher DPS, and then you can also smith it a lot higher than you can other things because it's Orcish and whatever. So when you take the smith damage and then multiply it by the actions per second, you actually get something, I wouldn't say much higher, a little bit higher than Volendrung, and then actually significantly higher than both the Daedric Warhammer and Dragonbone Warhammer. The advantage that the Longhammer has over Volendrung, aside from having a small, modest DPS bump, is that you can enchant it. So if you're an enchanter, you have the Twin Enchanting perk, or you have the Miracle perk that allows you to apply 3 enchantments to it, or you have like what is it, the Summer Mist enchantments that have some powerful utility to it. The Longhammer, self-enchanted gear is always going to be better than most of the Daedric artifacts because you can scale the enchantment so high. You can apply that to the Longhammer with the highest DPS as well. So we're going to play with the Longhammer a little bit. This also makes a strong case for Volendrung. Who knew Volendrung had some good stats on here, huh? Very strong. I love Imperials from Imperius. Yep. Well, let's see here. Isn't it a silver weapon too? That I think it's just steel. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I've used the Champion's Cudgel on its own and haven't actually disenchanted it to put on something else. Longhammer, that's what she said. Yeah, geez. You know we're going there in these streams. Before the absorb from Black Bow of Fate. Yeah, but you can't disenchant that one. Black Bow of Fate is awesome for a bow. It's one of my favorites. It's probably the best in the base game. And then once you get into the DLCs, there's a argument to be had for Ariel's bow, but then Bow of Shadows just kind of really takes it. Longhammer just use Elemental Fury. Yeah, with Enirim, though, if you're perking into two-handed, you get access to Massacre and enter the arena, which I think doubles your attack speed. whenever you enter combat with a two-handed weapon. So you could use Elemental Fury to supplement that in longer battles, but usually at that point you're gonna tear through everything. You're gonna put it through the blundle, the blender, the blundle, the grundle. Longhammer also benefits from double improvement, which means its damage is actually way higher than Volendrung. Smith damage. Interesting. What do you mean by double improvement? I know you mentioned that as well, but from everything I'm seeing, you mean with the smithing? You improve it at a double click as opposed to any other weapon? Can't type with hand warmers. Yeah, I could imagine that would be tough. Have some memories of Volendrung being used in ESO's Cyrodiil PvP. They have the hammer. Fun times. Yeah, Volendrung has like a lot of story to it too. Hammerfell is actually named after Volendrung. Whatever dwarven, I don't remember the guy's name. It's probably something impronounceable. The dwarven chieftain at the time, he was looking for a new home, so he just tossed Volendrung in the air and it landed in Hammerfell. And they named it Hammerfell because that's where the hammer fell. And that hammer was Volendrung, which was a dwarven artifact before it was a Daedric artifact. Same with Spellbreaker. Cool stuff. Yeah, that's Enter the Arena guarantees that the Massacre procs with each new battle. Yeah, so that's kind of made Elemental Fury moot for me because I have both of those perks. And we'll get into that when I actually start playing. I do have to refresh my drink and take this hoodie off. But I will be back very shortly. All right, guys? Don't go nowhere. All right, we're back. Sporting my Galloping Ghost arcade t-shirt. I kind of want to go to an arcade. We have a couple semi-decent ones out here. Maybe I can drag my wife out one of these nights when we both have like the next day off or something and go play some arcade games. Revisit the childhood, you know? Catch up here. Volendrung is actually just Elder Scrolls version of Mjolnir. Yeah, kinda. Unique items like Volendrung do not... Well, it depends on the mods that you're running, right? I think some of them do. Longhammer DPS is through the roof, even without perks or add-ons. Start by maxing out block skill tree to get the perk that slows time. That's a cool idea. Hugo Stiglitz, welcome, buddy. Hope you're doing well. From that perk, when it activates, you slow time shout. It gets crazy. Sounds pretty nuts. Sounds like kind of like a bad acid trip. I mean, I say that like I've ever had a bad acid trip, but I have not. I have no idea what a bad acid trip feels like. I'm still new to PC modding, which has been an absolute nightmare from my personal experience. So yeah, it's a trial by fire, buddy. You gotta earn it. You gotta forge yourself in that crucible. You gotta earn it like everybody else has. Even Wabbajacks. If you like have a big like I did, what was the one that I did? Lorim not too long ago. And I knew what to expect with those big lists, right? Even Wabbajack, you do the installer, and Lorim's actually really good about it. It comes with most of the settings pre-configured for you. You just have to be sure to pick, you know, the profile from the top of the MO2 page. And then there's maybe a couple tweaks that you got to do in, you know, the display tweaks configs or whatever to match what you want your FPS output to be. But a lot of those bigger Wabbajack lists, they have you do like a full page of, okay, now go to this setting and set it to this. Now go to this setting and set it to this. Okay, now you want to go to this setting and set it to this. And even in Lorim, it changes so much from the base game that you're going to need like a tutorial, like a getting started in Lorim video to be able to navigate all the new systems and everything, because it adds so much. You like don't even know where to start. Haven't been to an arcade in years. That would be fun. Yeah. Yep. We have one called Cobra Arcade here that's been in business for a long time, but it has limited hours to it. But they have like a really good selection of, you know, all the best arcade games from the 90s. I saw like a Ninja Turtles game in there. Of course, you got your Street Fighters and your shooting games and everything. Probably has a good selection of pinball. It's not in the greatest area of town, but even our not so great areas of town they've been kind of being rebuilt by the young money, I guess, the hipsters that get their first careers and want to live in you know, in the downtown area. So that's not been too bad. So yeah, I want to go check out some arcades. Hear what he's saying. I need to go through those settings. Yep. Might be good to go after that. Yeah, probably. Just it's a README, and each one of these big Wabbajack lists have a Discord that, you know, as long as you don't come in too hot, they'll be pretty helpful. If you come in hot, you're gonna get shredded, dude. So yeah, just make sure you're being diplomatic at least. All right, what are we doing here? Okay, here's Fortius. He's wearing the Imperial Dragon armor. I want to do a full build based off the Imperial Dragon armor and the Stormcloak Champion armor as well. Just lean into the fire shouts for this one and the frost shouts for the other one. Another one of those build ideas that I have, you know, hundreds of, dozens of, and just don't have the time to do all these Skyrim playthroughs, especially when there's all these other great games coming out too. So this is Fortius. he is ready to start his destined stint with the Imperial Legion here. This is what he's been raised for. This is what he's been trained for his entire life, is to rejoin the Imperial Army at the time when they need him the most. And the Empire is at a very existential crossroads right now. This civil war in Skyrim would normally be just a small skirmish to the Imperial Legion, but since this is happening in the aftermath of the Great War, when their numbers are already depleted, their popularity is at an all-time low because, you know, Hammerfell basically left the Empire to continue the fight with the Thalmor. Who knows what the Bretons are doing? They're always fickle. They're always, you know, it's kind of just in their blood. And then things like, you know, the Oblivion Crisis, we're still living in the aftermath of that. The Red Mountain exploding, this is all goes into the big prophecy of some apocalypse going on. And I'm hoping that Elder Scrolls 6 will touch on with all these towers falling. So yeah, the Legion is, or the Empire itself, not even just the Legion, but the Empire itself is dying, for lack of a better word. And Fortius is the knight in shining armor that is supposed to come in and save him, save the Legion and save the Empire from certain destruction here. Not that this was prophesized or anything, but his father, Aulus, was a very wise general, a very trusted general. Maybe alongside Jonah, but really under Jonah. Jonah was like the mastermind of the whole Red Ring situation there. But Aulus was instrumental in executing that and refining that strategy to make it work. And since Fortius's mother died, Aulus and Fortius didn't really know how to connect on a personal level. So they really leaned into his training. It was something that Fortius enjoyed to do. He loved learning how to use new weapons. He loved learning about strategy and tactics. And so he just leaned into that. And Aulus, being like a stoic military man, didn't know how to connect with his son on a personal level either. And with his wife gone, now that they don't have that intermediary to kind of keep the family dynamic alive and kicking, so Aulus kind of just leaned into the training because that was what they shared. That's what they had in common, so that's what they bonded over. So Aulus eventually died and sent Fortius via like a sort of deathbed note saying, you need to go to Skyrim. There's some things there. You need to continue your training. And he also set up a mentorship with Gore, who was Fortius's sort of idol growing up, watching Gore from interesting NPCs fight in the arena. He really, really appreciated Gore for his unorthodox tactics that were really kind of ingenious that he saw them implement. He would study them, he would watch them, and he would get super like excited when Gore would do something that everybody else thought was kind of stupid but somehow worked. He was able to see the genius behind it, why it worked, and why Gore did what he did. So Gore became mentor of Fortius when he came to Skyrim, showed him the ropes and everything, had him go through, you know, the companions quest line to learn their fighting techniques, suggested that he go through the Thieves Guild because maybe the Empire is going to need that intelligence network to reclaim Skyrim and reclaim their foothold on the province. And when push comes to shove with the Thalmor later on, they're going to need that established network as well. So the Thieves Guild was also a priority for him. We did the Mages Guild stuff. I don't really know that was canon, but we did it. And then just a lot of smithing training and learning the ins and outs of how the different pieces of equipment work and getting the most out of them. Well, we're kind of there now. We're ready to go. Now that he is Gore's equal, if not better, in terms of martial skill and strategy, he is ready to rejoin the efforts with the Imperial Legion and kind of take on his fated role as the savior of the Empire. And again, this isn't prophetic or anything. This is just what Aulus, Fortius's father, had planned for his son. He saw that there was talent. He saw that there was a strong will. He saw that there was a strong fortitude of morality with him as well. And that not only was he is what the Empire needs, it's what Fortius is born for, really. And so he's just kind of, you know, trying to fulfill that destiny for his father, for his legacy, and maybe by proxy, the love for his mother as well. He's just trying to make something of himself to honor his parents. But also, you know, he was the Dragonborn of legends, so the gods have also chosen him for some things too. So the stars are really lining up for a big Imperial win here, and they really need one. Fortius is not a Breton. Fortius is an Imperial. And the reason I took the Imperial for the warrior is because I already had a strong representation of Nords on the channel. I've had several different Nord builds. I think I've had one Imperial build, and that was the Astronomer. The Elden Ring crossover build that I did with the Staff and Shield Mage. But the Imperials have a boost to starting skills in heavy armor, one-handed, block, and I feel like there was something else that I'm missing. But anyway, yeah, it had some good starting bonuses, which on legendary difficulty with the with Wildcat and everything, Imperial was a pretty good choice. Nord was also a really good choice, but like I said, Nord had already had a lot of representation on the channel. The most obvious one would be Orcs. But Orcs, I want to save for a Barbarian build, which is very similar to a Warrior build. And with Imperius, Orcs have that ground stomp ability that I think would work really well with a Barbarian. So I'm saving the Orc for the Barbarian.
He doesn't have the man.
Joe, welcome aboard, buddy. Hope you're having a good weekend so far.
Riften, Dawnstar, and Winterhold support him.
It's not a cause.
Yeah, I don't have a Breton character just yet, but I will. I will at some point. Maybe the Sorcerer will be a Breton. Maybe a Knight will be a Breton. We'll see.
On the other hand, he also refuses.
He isn't the Imperial they asked for, but the Imperial that they need. Indeed, indeed. I've yet to see you do an Altmer build. Altmer, the Nemesis Arcane Archer was an Altmer. Altmer's awesome. I love Altmer. And the Mage that I'm running right now, which I think I'm going to try to get back to the Mage next week. It's just the Mage is a lot more complicated than any of the other builds, just because of the sheer amount of spells that I have to learn and try to find combos for. But the Mage is Altmer. Maybe next week. I've had a few Altmer builds as well.
You Nords and your bloody sense of honor.
Sir.
General Tullius reporting for duty, sir.
Speak with Legate Ricka. She will determine if you are Legion material.
Yes, sir. Okay, we are going to respect the chain of command here. Ricka, nice armor.
I've got a good feeling about you, and I don't often get good feelings about anything.
Ooh.
Warrior knows to trust.
Was that a pass?
I'm not going to go through the normal process with you. I've passed that, and we'll talk about you joining the Legion.
What kind of test?
The kind that evaluates your usefulness during duress.
Necromancer Breton or Necroblade? Ooh,
Rogstad.
sexy. Sounds
awesome. If you survive, you'll pass. If you die, then I'll have no further use for your corpse.
Okay, getting some tough love here. So what's at Fort Hragstad that I can prepare for?
The ancients built many of the fortresses that dot the landscape of Skyrim.
It's been way too long since. Yeah, it's been challenging.
And nearly all have been overrun with bandits or other vagabonds.
I think I have the perks all set up. It's a level 50 build, so I had 50 perks to spread out and to get a general mage that doesn't specialize in too much but is good at everything. It was hard to get those perks, those 50 perks spread out, and I don't think the home mythal thing made it into it. You might have to refresh me on that, how that worked. That might be a post 50 stretch, because I remember thinking that it was a very intriguing tactic. Okay, consider that fort already yours.
Good, that's what I want to hear. Now go make it happen, soldier.
Okay, so we're getting some tough love from Ricka here. All right, so just a little bit of backstory on this. So we are already wearing the Imperial Dragon armor, which is the Imperial Champion armor from that AE quest line. Way too easy to get this armor. It's some of the best armor in the game. Some really good enchantments on it, and you basically don't have to do any combat. You can get it at level 1. Now, the way that these skills, these effects, like armor and DPS effects scale through skills, you're not going to get much of an improvement. The enchantments, for sure, are powerful at level 1. But the base damage and armor at level 1 is not going to make that much of a difference because of how they scale with skills. And if your skills are super low, you're not really going to see a huge improvement even between like iron armor and Daedric armor. It's actually just a few points, like within 10 points of base armor. But of course, once you start scaling that stuff up and smithing it and everything, that few points turns into, you know, a few dozen points, if not like hundreds of points. But yeah, this is end game armor that is way too easy to get at the beginning of the game. Yeah, as there's a few things, like the Bow of Shadows is kind of like that. At least that is gate kept a little bit by the high level dark elf that you have to kill to get it. But you know, that's just a few paralysis poisons and you're done, right? There are some other things that are hard to get, some things that are easy to get, like the Steel Soldier armor is another one that's really easy to get, whereas the Iron Plate armor is much harder to get for some reason, even though it's lower level. Yeah, it's the balancing is all wacky on it. But I am glad to have this set because it's a really cool looking set. Anyway, okay, so the backstory on this is the Legion, before he joined, contracted him to be their champion against the Stormcloaks in this fight. And that was mainly just to, right before we started getting this war started in earnest, demoralize the Stormcloaks as much as possible, saying, okay, our strongest is this much stronger than your strongest. Come at me, bro. And that's what he did. So this is the armor that he wore to that effect, and he is going to continue to wear it as a symbol throughout the Civil War. So that's good. Other equipment that we have Spellbreaker is kind of a no-brainer, especially with Zim's Immersive Artifacts. It vastly improves the ward effect on it, makes it instant as soon as you lift up the shield. Otherwise, it takes like a second or two to come up, which kind of makes it, you know, useless against trying to block spells on reaction. You just kind of have to have the shield up the entire time. I'm going to go with the Imperial Dragon Shield instead, just because we're not going to be fighting a lot of mage enemies. I might switch that out for the Corvinjund run, because there are some Draugr Deathlords and stuff that'll shout at us and shoot ice at us in the meantime. I might switch that out, but for just run-of-the-mill fighting people, the Dragon Shield is awesome. Let's make sure I got my rings set up here. Warlock's Ring will give us, this is an AE fishing ring that gives you a ward effect when you bring up your shield without having to wear Spellbreaker, so that's going to be kind of a contingency for that. I think it also gives you improved movement speeds as well. We have Longhammer, we have Ruin's Edge. I'll go through all these in the inventory menu as well, but this is kind of what we're running. The Nightingale Blade we're running, and I'll tell you why once we get into the enchantments on these things. Necklace of Nullification, which actually I'm going to switch that out for the Galder Amulet, which just gives us top-end skill level as opposed to magic resistance. Got a couple of pouches and things like that. And Dragonbone Arrow, which I can switch via hotkey to the Orcish Force arrows, which pop up enemies and allow you to time to switch weapons. So basically what I'll be doing, the standard combo that I'll be using is I'm going to shoot a Force arrow at an enemy, knock them down, pop them up, and then use that opportunity to switch to the Longhammer, get in there and start hacking away with Massacre and enter the arena. Now, Longhammer, I'm not going the Elemental Fury route with it because of Massacre and Voice of the Arena. If I'm proccing all those at the same time, I get insane attack speeds, but I think it might be too fast. It might actually crash the game. So I actually enchanted this with... Let me go find the... I think it's the skull. Getting there. So one drawback about the Longhammer is, you get insane attack speeds on it. You can enchant it, but the base enchantment, the base effect on it, the faster attack speeds, it covers up the description of the actual enchantment that you have on it, so you don't get to see what it is. I almost always carry multiple of the same weapon for different purposes. For example, I'll have crossbows for sneak attacks and then faster bow for combat. That's exactly what I do with the thief. Actually, I have a crossbow because it ignores armor and has higher damage rating than a bow. I'll use that for stealth with the thief. And then when I go into open combat, I'll switch over to the bow of shadows, which has a really fast draw speed on it. So yes, good tactic. Let's go ahead and do this. Which one is it? It's primal. 1% chance to activate a random Allmaker stone power after striking. So these are some powerful effects that you get from Solstheim, the Allmaker stones there. You get one that I think replenishes your health. You get one that causes a fiery explosion. You get one that I think summons werebears. You get another one that makes you impervious for a while. They're all very powerful, and they're balanced because you can only use them once before having to go and revisit the... Oops. Before having to go revisit the stone to recharge it. Now, 1% chance, so 1 out of every 100 swings it's going to proc that, which is a very low percentage chance. You can get that percentage up by scaling your enchanting higher, but I'm not perked into enchanting. I do have a 100 level enchanting skill. But because of the insanely fast attack speed on this, I figured a low percentage proc, low percentage high power proc effect on this would be the best way to go. And I have seen a couple effects proc off of that. And also I'm running the Voice of Rage and Ruin perk in the two-handed tree, which has a 5% chance to proc your currently selected power. So what I'll do is I'll start off with Fusro Da to get the staggers and stuff, and then as soon as I shoot them with an Orcish Force arrow, I'll switch to the Star of the West, which is the Warrior Stone Andromeda ability that completely refreshes health and stamina and buffs the that attribute by the amount that it was recovered. So that is great to have hooked up for legendary difficulty for a melee fighter, especially a two-handed warrior where you're focused on dealing damage and not so focused on active defense. It's a great way to stay alive during the whole thing. Oh, you like that hunting knife, huh? Yeah, that's from Hunterborn. I like Hunterborn a lot. It does introduce kind of a lot of script lag, so you gotta pick and choose. You can run some mods that have a lot of script load to them, but only a few. So you gotta pick and choose which high script load mods you want to run. Hunterborn is almost always in just because of what it adds to the game. I think makes a lot of sense, and I've been using it for a long time. So not having access to some of the things that it adds is going to be kind of a shock for me if I do ever remove it. All right, where's our horse, Pelgi? Is she down here in the stables? Perhaps? Yeah, there she is. So that's kind of how this build is working. And then at some point, if I get surrounded by enemies, I'll probably switch back to Foos. I'll do one Foos Roda shout, just a single Foos shout to cause a stagger, and I'll use that stagger to draw my one-handed Nightingale sword and the shield. The Nightingale blade with Zim's immersive artifacts is much better than the vanilla one. So we're absorbing 27 points of health and stamina, and sneak attacks are 50% stronger. We can ignore the 50% sneak attacks. Actually, I think absorb health and stamina is a vanilla enchantment, right? But we have many more charges with the Zims one than we do with the vanilla one. So this just aids to longevity in combat. So by the time I go to one-handed sword and board, I'm usually playing defense, and in order to prolong my life, absorb health and stamina is really, really valuable at that point. And then, just for those who don't know, we can go through the Imperial Dragon Armor stuff here. This is the stuff that you get with the AE content, the full AE upgrade, the paid upgrade, not just the free stuff. This is I think the Imperial Champion set that you get for siding with the Empire in that fight. Grants 30% resistance to fire, grants 30% resistance to shock, grants 30% resistance to frost. So that's all really good against mages. Health regenerates 10% faster on the boots and grants 20% resistance to fire. So already we have 50% resistance to fire. Increases melee damage, all melee damage, not one-handed or two-handed, but both. All melee damage by 10%. And I believe that also carries over to block bashes as well. And then on the helmet, pretty cool looking helmet, by the way. Very Centurion themed. When low on health, has a chance to give the wearer ebony flesh, increasing defense, which is kind of a throwaway for us since we're already beyond the armor rating here. In fact, if I put on the helmet here, I'm at 889. I can buff that up, but still well beyond the armor cap, so we're getting 85% damage reduction whether or not we have that ebony flesh on. Armor rating does scale in... Actually, let's go ahead and just level up here. Magic health. There is a heavy armor perk in Ordinator called Apocalypse Out of the Inferno. So even if you hit the armor cap, this one will still calculate beyond your heavy armor cap. So 0.2% per point of armor. If wearing all heavy armor, you get an additional bonus to fire, frost, and shock damage reduction. So at 1,000, that's going to be another 20% damage resistance for fire, frost, and shock. And that does scale. And I can take potions of heavy armor as well. I don't have any of those hotkeyed because typically don't need them. I'm good enough as it is. But yeah, I can take a potion of fortify heavy armor to increase that even further. But I haven't needed it, like I said. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, and then the shield. The shield has a unique effect on it as well. Imperial Dragon Shield doubles damage from bashing, which is incredible because I already have a lot of crazy perk support for bashing. I can kill a lot of enemies outright with a bash from the shield on enhanced legendary difficulty with Wildcat. Grants 10% resistance to fire, so even more resistance to fire, and block 20% more damage with his shield. All very, very good stuff against melee attackers. Not as useful against mages unless they're fire mages, right? End up using a different helmet and actually really like how some of the mage hoods look. Yeah, for sure, man. Which do you prefer, Nightingale Sword or Chillrend for the Thieves Guild? I think I use both of them, honestly. If it just depends on what the situation calls for. So that's part of the role play for this build. Is that he will make heavy use of equipment changing because he is a strategic and tactical expert. His father taught him very well. He will switch out weapons as needed, and before he goes on a quest, he'll stop by his player home and he will pick out the equipment that makes sense for both the field of battle that he's fighting in and the enemies that he's fighting against. So it depends. Chillrend is a really good, powerful, unique weapon, especially for like a cryomancer build or like a cryo knight or cryo warrior or whatever. But so many enemies in Skyrim are resistant to frost, unless you perk into it through Ordinator or whatever. Undead are all resistant to frost. Nords are all resistant to frost, and most bandits are going to be Nords because we're in Skyrim, right? Yeah, we got an autosave because of the Meridia stuff, part of Shadows of Skyrim here. Yeah. Not a crash, just an autosave. Where was I? Oh yeah, so yeah, Nords are gonna highly dominate your enemy pool for human enemies. And then you also get a large amount of undead enemies in the form of Draugr in the game. And also, you know, you get some Wisp Mothers and ghosts, skeletons, and vampires as well that are all resistant to frost. So for me, frost damage is kind of a tough value proposition normally. Again, you can make it work with certain perks and, you know, potions and things like that. But typically I take the Nightingale Blade because of that over the Chillrend. The enchants on that stuff are ridiculous. Level 1 top gear. Yes, indeed. Wind Shear's great, man. Very unique enchantment on it. Very cool. Okay, we're going to have some visibility issues here. All right, we're going to have some archers up front or up top on the ramparts here. We're probably going to have a mage or two that we're going to have to fight. We have the Warlock's Ring to at least deal with some of that ranged magic damage for a little while. But these are all going to be human enemies. They do have the height advantage on some of the structural architecture on the castle, on the fort here. Okay, I do have Control Weather Scroll that I will be using here because going in with a height disadvantage. I also had to blow my rallying standard there. I'll wait another hour for that to come back. And now watch the snow come back now that I've waited. Okay. Oh yeah, and I didn't go over the Bow of Ruin enchantments. This is also a full AE paid upgrade item. This one you do have to fight a bunch of high-level bandits, as even one that is actually wielding this, so you have to fight against it in order to get it. So it's not super easy to get, but you can get it very early. Randomly applies one of these effects from the target: Frost, Demoralize, Frenzy, Drain Magicka, or Paralyze. They're all very useful as long as the, you know, the Frenzy is... It does apply the effect, so it's not level gated like a lot of Frenzy effects are, which is good. And Demoralize is just fear. So there is that, along with Paralyze, gives you a lot of crowd control options. Frost damage, again, I'm not gonna throw it out, but it's not the most effective elemental damage you can get. And then Drain Magicka, not effective against warriors, but definitely effective against mages. But mainly we're just here for the fear, frenzy, and paralyze effects, which are worth the price of admission, honestly. The biggest drawback to this is the way the damn thing looks. That is ridiculous looking. And then if you use it in first person, it takes up like half the screen. The model is ridiculously huge, but the eyeball does like look at you and blink at you the whole time. It moves around. It's like animated. It's pretty cool. All right, we're going to open up combat with the bow, with orcish arrows to knock them down, and we're going to go in with Longhammer. All right, we're going to take care of this sentry first. We're going to stand in the radius. Actually, we'll let him come to us. We're going to stand in the radius.
I'll try and make this quick.
Oh, Jesus, Lydia, you're going to stand right in the way there, aren't you? Oh, she just took him out. Okay, on Lydia's sword, I have also enchanted that with a Drain Armor effect. Woo. So I do added damage against enemies that Lydia is attacking. Ah, shit, I keep missing. Pro Skyrim player here. Oh shit, I just knocked Lydia out. I love those orcish force arrows, man. Oh, that just killed her outright. Awesome. Eat it. Oh, I am out of stamina. Okay, well, we didn't get any effects procced from either the primal effect on the Longhammer or the Star of the West, but we really didn't need it. And this is what superior training and tactics looks like, folks. That was pretty sick. I definitely use Winter Sun, and for the deity that I am using Ebonarm. And Ebonarm even further reduces enemy armor ratings for more damage output for me. And I'll just... Devotee of Ebonarm. Reduces armor of enemies within 40 feet by 59 points based on favor with Ebonarm, and I'm maxed out at 200% favor on that. And you gain the total amount, doubled against Daedra. So yeah, we're putting enemies down pretty quickly, even with doing 0.25% of our base damage because of legendary difficulty. Yeah, it's fugly. That Ruin's Edge is nasty-kitty. But it's really powerful. It's great. So that spell he used and Clear Skies do the same. The spell I used... Clear Skies. No, not quite. I don't think that Clear Skies stops the weather, but it will kind of clear out the snow a little bit. Based on my experience. The clear weather effect on it will actually clear out all the skies. It'll make it a completely clear day. I think Clear Skies just kind of makes things a little more... It doesn't change the weather. It just, you know, makes things a little more visible, which is great. Yeah, that's from Apocalypse, I believe. Apocalypse does have a master level alteration spell that allows you to change weather at will. And there are scrolls that you can find from it at different spell vendors. So you can get them at the Court Wizards or at the College of Winterhold. They're not extremely common, but you can find them, and they do provide tactical advantages, especially if you can't see. Or if you have something like Aura Whisper. I don't think mechanically that weather blinds enemies. I think just darkness does. And for streams, I have been known to console in those scrolls, just so that people can see what the hell I'm doing. Makes me want to do a warrior. It's pretty sick, right? Yeah, one shot from the Nightingale sword and one bash from the dragon shield. The hell, Lydia, did you run ahead? Save some for me. Damn it. Oh, she's invisible too. That happens with this version of Nulvis for some reason. Something with the reshade or something, and the lighting borks everything all up. Sometimes the player character becomes temporarily just invisible too, and it's not an invisible effect. It's just something with the rendering on it. She'll come back. The enemy NPCs can see the invisible follower, so it's not a tactical advantage in any way. In fact, it's a tactical disadvantage because I might accidentally kill my follower because I can't see her. How'd you get the Nightingale sword? I talked about that a little earlier, actually. I did the Thieves Guild questline. And how I roleplayed that, I really just wanted to get access to the archery trainer because archery is a warrior skill. But also, roleplay wise, Fortius thought that being able to use the Thieves Guild and leverage, get in the good graces of Maven Blackbriar for her intelligence networks and things like that would be invaluable to the Empire. Even if we could stomp out the Stormcloak Rebellion, it would be invaluable to them to establish and maintain a foothold in the province as well. So it's not just winning the battle, but also winning the war. And you do that through intelligence. You don't do that through strength in battle alone. So I felt like the Thieves Guild would give a prime opportunity to do that. Questionable morality, but actually the Thieves Guild is a lot less overtly evil than something like the Dark Brotherhood would be. Can't see this character using the Nightingale sword with this character, though. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mismatch, but this is him going into his pragmatic, strategic mode, not just his honor-bound warrior mode, right? I was using the sword and the hammer that went along with this. Very cool-looking weapons, by the way. I just thought that since we're fighting a lot of human enemies, that the absorb health enchantment on there is tactically a lot better than just more flame damage. And of course the Longhammer we had talked about on that poll, and I wanted to demonstrate how that worked. Speaking of the Longhammer, with Warhammers specifically, I don't think that DPS is always king. Because of the slow attack speed on it,
what was that?
You might have some trouble finding openings to attack. And so sometimes, especially with a Warhammer, an extremely slow weapon like a Warhammer, that one-time top-end base damage might be more valuable than damage per second. But then when you get things like Massacre and Elemental Fury involved, then DPS does become much more valuable. So it's kind of hard to argue against DPS when you're attacking that fast. But without it, I would argue that with Warhammers in general, just that one hit damage might be more useful for you than... Ooh, did I get poisoned? Something happened. Interesting. Yeah, that one hit damage might be more important than how fast you can attack. Which is why, for me, the Longhammer isn't necessarily black and white, all eggs in one basket, the best in the game. It's situational, especially if you're, like I said, using Massacre, Enter the Arena, and or Elemental Fury. Yeah, absolutely. Hard to argue with that DPS, but there are other ways, gameplay-wise and tactically, where, you know, a Daedric Warhammer might be better. Hammer! How did you go through the Thieves Guild? I didn't sneak one bit. I fought my way through all of it. It was awesome. That's another thing, is I just wanted to see if I could do it, and I could, and it was amazing. I just fought through everything. Even the East Empire warehouse, I fought through that whole thing, and it was awesome. It's kind of like a Thieves Guild enforcer. I just picked up the Paladin's cape. I did indeed. Haster, do you know what enchantment? Does that have a unique enchantment on it? I'll probably never use it going forward unless I can find a physics patch for it. But yeah, there's no physics on it, which just makes it look silly. When you've gone with capes with full physics for a while, going back to capes without physics is it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow. Nothing quite like the drama that a flowing physics-enabled cape brings to a character. It's really awesome. Okay, did I clear everything here? Okay, so I think Legate everybody in the Empire basically knows who Fortius is. They knew who Aulus was. They knew how well trained he was making Fortius. He was raising Fortius to be. And Fortius has long been making waves in Skyrim. Actually, I'm just going to fast travel back to Solitude because we've already taken this road. So General Tullius, Rika, everybody, pretty much everybody in the Legion and everybody in Skyrim knows of Fortius, heard of his exploits, knew his lineage, and knew where his loyalties lied. But now that he's officially part of the Empire, he's gonna have a contentious relationship with some of the denizens of Skyrim for sure that he didn't have before. But because Rika knew of Fortius, what he's capable of, what his lineage was, and everything, she doesn't want him to get a big head. She needs him to fall in line. The Legion is a well-oiled machine. They do want to have exceptional individuals, but those exceptional individuals are going to be less effective if they're not falling in line with the rank and file and working toward a common greater strategy. That's how the Legion operates. That's how it's always operated. And having one exceptional individual that is stronger than everybody else, but also that is going to kind of upset that oiled machine might be more of a detriment to them than a boon, even considering the power of a Dragonborn character. So she is giving him tough love to keep him in line. Fortius doesn't really need it. He is of stalwart morality and conviction. He is not going to sway from his path. He knows the importance of this stuff and what deferring to General Tullius and Legate Rika means to the Empire. He trusts Tullius. He has heard nothing but good things of Tullius from his father. He's kind of an asshole, but tactically, he's quite good.
It'll be a problem.
He knows what he's doing.
Don't you Nords put any stock in your own traditions? I thought the Moot chose the king. We're backing Elisif.
But that's why Legate Rika is sending him on this quest. He's just showing him his place in all this.
To know that Nords aren't always sensible.
Showing him that he's going to have to earn their trust, that he's not going to get it implicitly, and that there is a pecking order that he's going to have to follow. And that was kind of the long and short of it. She knew that he was going to be able to decimate that fort, which gives them a strategic advantage in the area, being able to take that over for the Empire. But also, you know, to just make sure that the hierarchy is respected here.
With what resources I can spare. But I'm warning you.
Can't recall, but if you want, you can put on a random cape for a Fortify Resto magic. Yeah, for sure. You can always do it. I just wondered if it had a unique enchantment on, because some of the capes do from that mod. Have you considered making a corpse feeding mod for vampires, similar to Better Vampires, but for Sacrosanct and Sacrilege? That would be interesting. I wonder if there's patches that already exist for that. Maybe not.
You did well. I'm impressed.
I wonder if there's a mod out there where you start as a kid and grow up eventually.
Officially join the Legion.
None that I've heard of, but there is a mod called Pumping Iron that you can start off real skinny, and then as you go and the more that you use like melee and stuff like that, you'll actually beef up dynamically throughout the game. It's pretty cool. I think that's another one of those script load mods though, so you know, I usually don't put it in there because I want to make room for Hunterborn more than anything. But yeah, that one's pretty cool. I always enjoyed playing like doing a physique check every now and then to see if like how are my abs coming along. My biceps are popping now, you know. There used to be a playable children option in the RS children foam mod. Interesting. They might have had to take those out because of community guidelines though, and you know, harm to children type stuff. You probably can't find it on Nexus anymore, but I'm sure you can find it on other like Patreon and Lovers Lab and things like that that have less strict community guidelines on them. Plus, they already have feeding elements built in, so I'd have to take that into account and change a lot of things. Yeah, the Sacrosanct feeding stuff is really kind of tightly coupled with some of the mechanics in that game. Oh shoot, I got to take the whole oath. I got distracted. You guys are distracting me. Kidding. Love you guys. Plus, they already have feeding elements. Yeah. I'm a Sacrosanct guy, so that mod would be in high demand for me. Only barely above Scion for me in terms of which I dislike most. Legendary look, yeah. They're back to the power fantasy there.
Changed your mind? Decided you wanted to soldier for the Empire after all.
I didn't change my. That was the plan the whole time, General. Yeah, let's take the oath.
Well then, repeat after me. Upon my honor, I do swear undying loyalty to the Emperor Titus Mede II.
Upon my honor, I do swear undying loyalty to the Emperor Titus Mede II.
And unwavering obedience to the officers of his great empire.
And unwavering obedience to the officers of his great empire.
May those above judge me, and those below take me, if I fail in my duty.
May those above judge me, and those below take me, if I fail in my duty.
Long live the Emperor, long live the Empire.
Long live the Emperor, long live the Empire.
Welcome to the Imperial Legion, soldier. Just remember, we take care of our own. Once you're in the Legion, you're in it for life. Speak to Behrend. He's normally out by the forge. He'll get you outfitted. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Legate Ricka has a special assignment for you.
So this is a momentous occasion for Fortius, right? This is what he spent his entire life preparing for. But for him, it doesn't really feel that momentous, right? Because it feels like he's been part of the Empire the entire time. He's been part of the Legion. He was raised by a very high-ranking Legionnaire. He's been working toward the efforts of the Legion and the Empire this whole time. So just to say some words doesn't really make him feel any differently about it. His loyalty was always with them. This was always the plan the whole time. This is just the next step. And I wonder how much of that has to do with the way that he was raised and how desensitized he was to everything else in his life. He's just kind of zealously was raised and trained with Imperial ideals firmly implanted in his brain to the point where he's like, yeah, this is just the way. Almost like a Space Marine. I've been playing Space Marines, by the way. That game is awesome. Most of like the top games of the year candidates went on sale within the last couple of weeks. I just bought them all. And I've been playing them as I've had time. Space Marines, awesome. Awesome game. They just go around as this badass, you know, zealous Space Marine hacking, you know, aliens and stomping grounds. It was freaking awesome. A lot of, you know, that Space Marine stuff too. The Space Marines themselves look kind of hokey. The whole, you know, Warhammer stuff, it looks kind of like cartoonish and cheek and mouth. That stuff is serious business. Those guys are brutal, stone cold badasses. The things that they've had to go through for the whole Space Marines. It's not unlike the Trial of the Grass for The Witcher. Most Space Marine candidates don't survive the process of the implants. You're not allowed to have any anesthesia for all the implants and transplants that you have to make you stronger, faster, more, you know, brutal in everything that you do. It's truly a trial by fire, and these guys are, oh, it's wicked. I'm loving it. What Dragon Priest masks are you wearing on your belt again? Nothing. Nothing. I am not trying to expand my enchantment slots with this one. That is why I am not wearing an enchanted cape. The cape has no enchantments on it. I'm not expanding my enchantment slots by putting Dragon Priest on my belt. I'm not opposed to wearing a Dragon Priest on my head for this build. And I did that differently for the Stormcloak Assassin because that build was a little weaker. It needed some more help. And fortunately, mods came to the rescue for that. If I were going to do that again with no expanded enchantment slots, I would have had to start off with some crafting skills and maybe go legendary and reapply those perks to other things after I got my endgame gear. But yeah, No expanded enchantment slots necessary for this one. I could make him stronger by doing it, and I might later on, once I kick this all the way up to like, 7 times damage intake, do some Shadows of Skyrim runs with that. But so far, haven't needed it. This was that didn't sound convincing. The oath. Well, it was because it was matter of fact. Not everybody's an Ulfric guy, Magus. I'm sure you would contend that everybody is an Ulfric guy, they just don't know it yet. Oh, I gotta go speak to Rika. God damn it, I keep leaving Castle Dower before I'm ready. Anesthesia was used on Space Marines when they were children, not when they were adults. Okay. You mean tongue-in-cheek? Didn't I say tongue-in-cheek? Did I say something else? Did I misspeak? Yep, Nords and Redguards are considered like the best warriors in the Legion, while the Orcs are the best quartermasters and smiths. You would think, yeah, the Orcs would be valued for their prowess in battle too, but...
Listen up. Ulfric's right-hand man,
pain control was added when they were a child. Okay, that does help then.
Of the jagged crown. We're going to make sure...
With Magus on this one, Stormcloaks are way better.
The rest of my men
I like them
are
both.
already assembling outside Corvinjune. I'll meet you there as soon as I finish up here.
I don't apply my real-world politics to video game politics, especially in Skyrim. It's not a one-to-one match for most part, so I know that a lot of people draw their lines that way. I don't, so I appreciate both sides for what they are in-game. I put a huge firewall between that shit. All right. Let's see, what's the Jagged Crown? How do we know the crown is in Corvinjune? We'll take the, okay. So yeah, tell me more about this Jagged Crown and what it means.
Dating back to King Harald's time, or before. A powerful relic.
Ulfric is cool, especially, Ulfric is definitely more charismatic than Tullius for sure.
That the crown is made from
I'm an Imperial at heart, even though I'm an Altmer. There you go.
And is said to increase the power of
there you go.
Whatever the truth. If Ulfric gets
less black and white, more shades of gray. That's what I'm here for.
Symbol around which to
you said cheek and mouth? What the fuck was I thinking? Where did that come from? My God. Cheek and mouth. My God. I'm slipping, guys. I'm losing it in my old age. I love this hypothesis. Finally saw my point I've been making for 13 years about Ulfric. Which point was that? They roleplay shit too, though. They'll make a build for the Empire and they'll make some good points about them too. How do we know the crown is in Corvinjune? I'm gonna respect the, now that we have access to higher intelligence organizations through the Thieves Guild, I am going to trust that we just know. Why do you fight for the Empire? What will it take to end the war? No, that's all I needed.
Don't wait for me. Get to Corvinjune as soon as you're ready.
Yeah, we're going. Make Skyrim great again. Orcs are valued as heavy armor shock troops, whereas Redguards and Nords are valued as standard soldiers. Nice. I could see that. 4:38 p.m. All right, it's getting kind of late in the afternoon. By the time we get to Corvinjune, it's going to be late, but this sounds like it's a high priority item. We need to get there before Galmar and the Stormcloaks do. So let's get there, shall we? Oh, get the Imperial gear from Barrand. We already have our gear, but we may as well just grab the standard issue stuff. The general issue.
Seems there's no end to the needs of the Imperials. But what can I help you with?
His POV on why Ulfric has the right of it, simply put.
Fresh fish. Fresh fish.
Now I'll make a mod to make Ulfric do the dance. Oh, God. I don't need that shit in my Skyrim. There's enough of that shit in real life. I don't need it in my Skyrim, too. Hard pass. General Tullius said you'd get me outfitted. All right. I know I started, but we got to nip this stuff in the bud. I have the Community guideline says no politics in chat. That was my fault. Let's get out of that. General Tullius, you said you'd get me outfitted.
Yep.
Here we go.
I just have one question for you.
Grilled cheese is awesome. Now that's something I'll agree on.
Or heavy?
Orcs are also far fewer in number due to most of them living in their strongholds, and many choose to become mercenaries over legionnaires. That's also a fair point. But there are some that, you know, bleed imperial red because of, you know, their experience with the Empire was always very friendly to the orcs. Probably mostly
They don't make
for what the
finer
orcs could
steel
give to them,
else.
but they've
This
always,
doesn't keep
you know,
from dying.
at least tried to treat them
Nothing
fairly
will.
and supported them in
Now
their
that's
efforts
it.
of
One free outfit
independent
per soldier.
kingdoms and things like that.
You lose that, or get it banged up. You'll need to pay like everyone else.
You're doing the Civil War, and that's why I said I put a firewall between real life and my game. Just because I play a Stormcloak character doesn't mean I subscribe to those politics, and just because I play an Imperial character does not mean I subscribe to those politics. It's a video game, people. Oh shit, I got the Imperial Knight stuff. Is that, damn, I don't know that I've ever done the... or started the Imperial questline this late in the game, but it gave me the Imperial Knight stuff right out of the bat. That's awesome. This comes from Immersive Armors, so I wonder if, well, it must. Immersive Armors must have, oh, they gave me 3. Heroic Imperial Bracers, the Imperial Knight stuff, and the regular Imperial Soldier stuff. Shit, that's awesome. I guess there's a leveled list for that stuff. If you hit a certain level, it'll give you all of it. That's awesome. I still like Rika best. Nord on the Imperial side, who's mirrored Sulfrid after. Yes, I like that too. She's kind of best of both worlds, right? Or a decent amount of both worlds. It's who I mirrored Sulfrid after. Awesome, yeah. Sulfrid was a great character. I liked her a lot. Plus, the title you get from the Stormcloaks is awesome. The Stormblade, it is indeed. Yeah, Stormcloaks definitely know their drama better than the Empire does. The Empire is just all about results. The Legion is more neutral to the Orcs, in my opinion, because they don't tend to stop the Red Guards and Bretons from destroying their strongholds. Well, yeah, because the Red Guards and Bretons are also, you know, well, they were anyway. I think the Bretons still are. The Red Guards were for a long time officially part of... What the hell? There's just a random-ass dead horse over here? Should I do it?
I've never been more ready.
Should I beat the dead horse like we're doing with the Civil War disagreements? The Civil War argument? This is what we're doing with the Civil War argument at this point after 13 years. This is exactly what you're doing. There we go. Some symbolism on your Saturday. Okay, where is my horse? Helgi. So the horse's name, by the way, is a mixture of Pelinal and Gaiden Shinji. Pelinal Whitestrake and Gaiden Shinji. 2 of Fortius's idols growing up. 2 of the sort of humanity's most powerful, most well-renowned warriors in history. Gaiden Shinji and Pelinal Whitestrake. 2 of Fortius's idols. Put it together as Pelgi. That's what he's named his horse. Jesus, Pelgi. Why do you gotta go in there? Hopefully I can get back out of here too. Look, everyone. Irony. I don't know if that was irony. It was good symbolism. I married an English major, and I almost was one on my own, so... As far as you getting pedantic about the Longhammer, I might get pedantic about irony. The meaning of the word irony. Give me a nice crisp piece of meat. There you go. Who doesn't like a nice crisp piece of meat? Okay, so we're foregoing the carriage here because we're going to get there much faster on Pelgi. She's much well suited for just top-end speed and mobility than any run-of-the-mill carriage horse and carriage driver. And she doesn't have as much of the dead weight to pull behind her, so we're going to get 2 Whiterun, well, the Whiterun area much faster. So, okay, this is what we're doing. We're going to go through Dragon Bridge. We're going to hang a left at the fork there. There's another milling town over here that's added through Cutting Room Floor that we're going to be passing through. We're going to be passing right by Morthal. We're not going to stop. Passing through Stone Hills. We're going to be passing by Dawnstar. We're not going to stop. We're going to hang a right at that fork. And then hang a right at the fork over here down toward Whiterun. And then Corvin Jund will be on our left, where we're going to be meeting up with our fellow contingent of soldiers there. I still like General Tullius too. You know, he loathes the elves and definitely playing 4D chess. Absolutely. And that's what a lot of the black and white, no shades of gray Imperial haters tend to either ignore or forget or just disregard. Is that the Empire does not like working for the Thalmor, and they do not intend on doing it forever or very much longer. There is another Second Great War coming, and the Thalmor and the Empire are not going to be on the same side, if in fact the Empire still exists at that point. Okay, we got to level up for Pelgi here. And I think that the Stormcloak movement is going to have a hell of a time drumming up support to take on the Thalmor without the Empire. Altar of Zen, we're not playing a Khajiit. I don't know that he was a cyborg, but I don't think that he was also a naturally born human either. He was created. I don't think that he's full cyborg though. He was definitely created for a purpose. For some reason, I can't get convenient horses to work. It doesn't show up in my mod. That is weird. You either have a versioning mismatch somewhere or you have a conflict. Hard to say. It's so hard to diagnose modding issues. Is Frost River vanilla that town? No, it's not. It's a Cutting Room Floor. Most mod lists that you're gonna install. Okay, those skeletons just didn't give a shit that I was even there. That's fine. We have other priorities than skeletons hunting deer for some reason. Zen is a wood elf deity. Ah, okay. I thought it was Khajiit for some reason. Very mistaken. There are a lot of overlaps between wood elf and Khajiit culture. Maybe not culture, but just like general traits and properties. How they're portrayed in game. Which is funny because they're also often at odds with each other too. They don't like each other generally. Talos founded the Empire. Why would the Empire turn their back on them? They are just playing peace for now. They absolutely. It's the White Gold Concordat was a means to an end to stop a war that there was a good chance they were going to lose, and I don't think it was ever meant to be anything permanent. I think it was always just temporary. But they did some bad things to... I mean, yeah, they facilitated the Thalmor justiciars who were hunting down Talos worshippers and stuff. Even though for the most part they're willing to turn a blind eye. Like, there are definitely Talos worshipping sympathizers in the Legion. They're just biting their tongue for now. There's the Great War mod that's been out for a while. Yeah, the Great War, it's not canon, but it does play out in ways that I would very much expect it to play out in. I played through the mod. It is a performance nightmare, even with top-end hardware. It's just the draw calls, the limits that you get in the in this version of the creation engine is just... It's not set up for those high-scale battles, so it's gonna tank your performance. But I do think it's worth a playthrough at some point. And yes, it does play out pretty much exactly how I would expect the whole thing leading up to the Second Great War to play out. Only Bethesda knows for sure how it's gonna play out, and we'll hopefully get some answers on that in an official manner in Elder Scrolls 6, but that's still, you know, at least a few years away. I would put Elder Scrolls 6 extremely optimistically at 2.5 years away, but probably more realistically at 3.5. And if there are delays, then we're looking at, you know, maybe 4 years, but I wouldn't put it at really any farther than that. Yeah, speaking of Space Marines, Pellinol Whitestrake was kind of a Space Marine in his own terms. Kind of a Elder Scrolls Universe Space Marine. Oh, that procced Star of the West, the Standing Stone power from Andromeda. Good to know that I can actually proc those from horseback as well. Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be a massive letdown because there is no way for it to hold up to the hype. Yeah, it'll be a massive letdown for a lot of people. I'm sure I will like it. I would think that the people who thought that Starfield was a giant letdown will probably also think that Elder Scrolls 6 is a giant letdown. I really liked Starfield, and I still do. And I probably will really like Elder Scrolls 6 as well.
Do you have a death wish?
I don't think it will ever be as well loved in the hearts of many, or in fact in my own heart as Skyrim is. I'll still be playing Skyrim after Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, I think. But I think that speaks more to how special Skyrim is than how far the mighty BGS has fallen in some people's eyes. They're still making the Starfield, you know. Once you get past the subjective stuff, it was still a good-ass game in a lot of ways compared to a lot of new games. And I feel like if you look at it objectively instead of subjectively, it is a good game. And I think so will the Elder Scrolls 6. It's just they've gone in directions that, well, they followed industry standards for sure. They probably shouldn't need to do that. The Creation Club stuff that they're leaning into with every one of their games now. If you're gonna hate Starfield because of the Creation Kit or the Creation Club stuff, then you probably need to hate Skyrim as well, because that is all there as well. It's all still there. So you like Skyrim enough to put up with it. You didn't like Starfield enough to put up with it, and that's okay. I did like Starfield enough to put up with it. And I will continue to do so. If you want to fight me, give me another week. I should be fully recovered from my gallbladder surgery, and then we can fight if you want. You know I'm kidding. You know I'm kidding. We can disagree. I don't mind. Just like the house cats are also considered Khajiit. The Crocs and Argonia are also considered... Oh, they have different shapes of Argonians? That's awesome. Well, it said he was wielding fire in his hand, but the stories also mentioned that he was a Witch King. Pellinol? Yeah, a lot of either superhuman and or supernatural... Oh shit, I need to get off of Pelgi for this one. That looks like... Shit, broke my ward. Get out of... Okay, well, alright. I have lots and lots of fire resistance.
I am sorry. You left me with no choice.
Very expensive. I will sell that off. Okay, we are here at Corvingian now. Well, at least very close to it. Need to go a little bit more south. Pelgi, where'd you go? Pelgi, what the hell you doing all the way over there? Fighting frostbite? God damn it. Jesus Christ, Pelgi, what the hell, man? Am I? Oh, Wandering Knight. No, I did not mean to fight the Wandering Knight. It's so hard to see in the dark. Dude, bro, I'm sorry. You're one of the good ones.
All right, you've had enough.
Okay, thank you. My mistake. My mistake. You look like a bandit in the dark. I've been playing an unarmored vampire monk character, which has been really fun. Yeah, Hoster, let's put an end to that conversation, please. That is fully in the realm of politics, and we are not talking politics on this channel. And for the record, the views of the chat do not reflect the views of the channel, just officially. It's become about monetization, not passion for the game. Now, developers and programmers, that's different. They love the games like we do, but yeah, I agree. That is my take on the situation. What the hell is going on here? Can I just freaking, like, do my damn job, please?
Only a fool lets himself get surrounded.
Holy crap. This is a nightmare, just getting to the place where I can actually do my job here. Now, where the hell is Pelgi? God damn it. Going through it right now. Cheese and rice. Cheek and mouth. Am I right? It was also said that Pelennor was made from Meridia to take down Unmaril, the Unfettered. Okay, lots of different accounts of Pelennor here. Very interesting character nonetheless.
What's the situation?
Yeah, right? So many. Okay.
They don't know we're here yet.
I'm glad you're with us. I don't like the looks of this
Lucifer
place.
is kind of a cool
talking about the
parallel between Meridia and real world stuff. Molag Bal is the devil of the TES universe. Yeah, I think there might be a couple. Molag Bal is a good one. Mehrunes Dagon is another one. What are you talking about? Yeah, I know what you mean about these old ruins.
You too, huh? I'd much rather a straight-up fight than creeping around a place like this. But never mind.
Yeah, Meridia was one of the... like one of the Aedra before she became
Well, that's something.
Daedra. She wasn't always a Daedra, she like became Daedra.
Looks like the damned rebels got here first. No matter, we have the element of surprise. Prepare to move out.
Magnus tossed her from Etheria straight to Oblivion. All right, see ya, Python. Have a good weekend, okay? All right, I'm ready. Let's go do it.
Me.
Shit, actually, while she's doing that, let's drop off some of this extra armor onto Pelgi here.
Ulfric, the Pretender, wants that crown, but we're not going to let him have it.
I would totally play a Doom-like game where you play as Pelennor Whitestrake and murder El. Yeah, kind of like the Covenant trailer that I showed at the beginning of the stream, but with Pelennor in the Elder Scrolls universe. Ah, damn, that would be cool. Pelennor was another one of those that was just absolutely brutalistic and barbaric. She rebelled against the Aedra. Is that why Magnus threw her out? Okay, we are gonna do Longhammer. Let's get up front though. Get our rallying standard procced up for everybody. Let's get up here, take care of these archers. I don't care if you're blocking. I'm gonna tear through that shield. Smash your ribs. And that guy does not need my help to die a miserable death. Okay. Yep, when Magnus learned that his daughter had a relationship with an unknown Daedra, he literally tossed her into Oblivion, where she created the colored rooms, her own sphere. Awesome.
Well done. They never knew what hit them, but don't.
Thought I had read about her being an Aedra before
Many
Daedra.
Are Legion veterans. Huh? They may be traitors, but they know how to fight. We had the advantage of surprise this time, but don't expect it to last.
Meridia was once part of the Magna Gi, which was wholly its own thing. Yeah. Yeah, you guys can all freaking sneak around if you want, but
on my signal. Time to show what you're really made of. For the Empire.
Hell yeah.
Did you hear something?
Call yourself a warrior?
Okay, just procced something there from a, I want to see. Bones of the Earth. This is one of the Allmaker stone abilities that procced from that 1% chance that I have on Longhammer. Caster ignores 80% of all physical damage for 30 seconds. Single use, then must be reacquired. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, just basically the armor damage reduction that I didn't need. Alright, we still got all of our boys in red. We do. Look at that. Everybody standing strong.
We don't want any Stormcloak reinforcements taking us by surprise.
Okay, so weapon switching.
See anything useful?
And sheathing and unsheathing my weapon is built in as part of the playstyle of this because of some of the perks that I have. In smithing, I have the sandstone sheath. When you draw a weapon, it's automatically sharpened, gaining 25% extra attack damage for 10 seconds for all weapons. So that's good. So that's why you see me sheathing and unsheathing my weapons a lot. Also, I think it's a 2-minute cooldown for rally standard. Warbringer. Raising your hands to draw a weapon or spell raises a rallying standard at your location for 120 seconds. This does not count against the limit of 1 rallying standard at a time. So yeah, every time within 2 minutes I pull up a new weapon or unsheath a weapon that I already have equipped, I'm gonna pop out a new rallying standard. Okay, there goes Star of the West.
I submit.
That's the last
Is that all of them? All right. Anything cool to loot off of these guys? Amulet of Isabella, I'll take that one. That might be of some help with the ladies. Shield bashing a shield with that hammer was cool. Now I like how the Daedra. Oh yeah, the just shield bashing shields. Absolutely. Or just completely wailing on it like I did outside. That one dude that was just blocking me, so I just massacred his shield. Didn't last long regardless. That was pretty badass.
Let's not jump to conclusions.
I like how Daedra have their own version of hell. Yeah, kinda. They each have their own like plane of hell.
Auxiliary, see if you can find
The ash pits of Malakath and the Deadlands, Dagon's realm, are the closest equivalent. Yeah, but most of them that you go to, most of the Oblivion gates are very hell-ish. I don't remember, was the hunting grounds, was it Hircine? No, it was, I'm trying to think of the game Oblivion. The followers of, it wasn't Manimarco, it was the other dude. God, I can't remember the guy's name. But the promise of the Mythic Dawn, they would go to these hunting grounds. It was supposed to be like the promise of eternal life, but it was really just an eternity in hell. It was kind of picturesque. It had like forests and everything, but they would just die to these grotesque monsters over and over again. I don't think that was a realm of Oblivion, but it was kind of adjacent.
The Stormcloaks are here in force. Stick close and follow. Maybe you can find a way through somewhere above us.
All right, you want to get the height advantage. I can rain down hell with my Ruin's Edge here. Hunting grounds is a giant forest. Hircine loads. Yeah, I thought that was very similar to the Hircine plane of Oblivion. That's not very hellish, although it could be, like I said, an eternity in hell for people who don't like it.
Don't give them a chance to warn the others.
Die, dog.
Yeah, who cares? I got the height advantage. Shit, I can't see shit. All right. Back with the Longhammer. Ooh. Yeah, just freaking break through their defenses with Massacre being procced. Oh, sorry, Lydia. That was your fault, though, not mine. Oh, that was Rika. I know. These big weapons are kind of unwieldy. Two things.
For now.
Ah, the Paradise, created by Mankar Cameron. That's the one. It was another M name. I knew it wasn't Manning Marco, but Mankar Cameron is the one that I was thinking of. Yes. The leader of the Mythic Dawn cult in Oblivion.
Be careful, men.
That's a pocket dimension. Okay. Kind of similar to what I imagine Hircine's realm to be like, though. And then you got the Shimmering Isles, which is not a hellish landscape, but just the pure chaos you have to deal with there. It could be some people's idea of hell.
Looks like it's been dead for 100 years.
Steady now. The Legion is
Yeah, that one was destroyed. Dude was carrying around forgotten magic, but weird. Yeah.
Now let's keep moving.
FMR do be like that. So I gave my warrior insane health regen, can regen over 10% health per second. Ooh, that's awesome. That's almost Argonian status right there. Super useful too. That's what I hate about Skyrim, all the NPCs get in the freaking way for attacks. Yeah, it's a problem. It is definitely a problem. little less pronounced in Fallout and Starfield because most followers are going to have guns in those games, and they stay out of the way if they're trying to find a place to shoot from instead of just a place to run in. But for whatever reason, BGS followers, like, they try to get in front of you. Or at least between you. It's some kind of like side effect of the logic that they do. Their pathing logic.
And this must be the Hall of Stories.
I've heard
Never
of
seen
this.
anything quite like that.
Where they're kind of gravitationally pulled between you and the enemy that they're targeting, that you're targeting. So it kind of just like it balances out to them just being in like in between you and the enemy. It makes sense, actually, when I put it like that. Ebony Claw. Fox, Moth, Dragon.
What is that?
Same goes
Some
for
kind of stone
Vermina's
claw?
realm. It changes all the
wonder
time
what
and you're
it's
haunted
used
by your
for.
worst nightmares when you're in there. Oh, sounds pleasant. Fox, Moth, Dragon. There we go.
Good job. All right, everyone. Keep your guard up. Let's move out.
Try to lead the charge here so that we can get out in front and plant a rallying standard where it's going to make the most impact.
All right, Legionnaires. Spread out and see what we've got. Auxiliary, do what you do best.
Okay,
See
so
if
when
you
we
can
throw
find
that
some way
switch
to
up
get
there,
that
that's
gate.
when the Draugr are triggered, and that's when we'll jump down, plant a rallying standard for everybody to benefit from. I don't think we've lost a single Legionnaire yet. That's awesome. I don't know that I've ever gotten this far on Legendary difficulty
How's it
without
going? You find anything yet?
losing at least one Legionnaire.
All right, let's move, men. We've got more. Steady, Legionnaires. We've been through worse. Just keep your guard up.
No rallying standard here?
Kill 'em!
Must still be on cooldown. Oh, I also do kind of have a watered down orcish ground stomp here. Maybe it's not even watered down. I am playing with Shadow of Skyrim active, and when you die in that game, it creates a nemesis from the enemy that killed you,
Well, that's how it's done.
and you get a debuff. And then when you kill that enemy, when you get revenge on that enemy, it removes your debuff and it gives you the buff that that enemy had. And that enemy had a ground stomp. When you jump in combat, it shakes the ground and staggers the enemies. So now I just have that permanently going forward. Shadow of Skyrim, when it works well, it's really awesome, but it can be buggy. It cannot trigger when it's supposed to trigger, and sometimes it does funny things with the
crown should be
with
around here
the
somewhere. Spread out and keep your eyes open.
form IDs of the specific nemesis that you're trying to track. Like he'll just show up in a different area or something like that. Oh, that's fun. Nice. We didn't need the health boost to that, but we did get a nice replenishment of... God damn it, now I'm stuck in the terrain. Smash that jump button. Oh, almost there. Almost there. Come on. Get up there, you bitch. There we go. Okay.
Take that crown
I'd like
back
to start
Solitude, soldier. We'll stay here and
doing
see
some
if we can find
self-enchanted like
anything else
halberds
that
and
could be of
steel or spears and stuff too, just for specific uses and things like that. Animated armory with these new weapons with the new animations and everything. They're pretty awesome. I'd like to lean into that just a little bit more with the warrior, but he's been focused on using unique weapons because of the more powerful enchants you get with those, as opposed to self-enchanted stuff without any kind of perk investment in the enchanting skill tree. I've also gone legendary on lockpicking, speech, and alchemy, so that I can continue to level past level 50, and with the goal of fighting the Ebony Warrior at some point with this guy. So I've also started leveling things like just some magical skills that are easy to level, like illusion, just to get more progression to increase my level further, so that someday I can fight the Ebony Warrior. You doing well, Lydia? You fought well.
With my life.
I know you are a Skyrim is for the Nords kind of girl, so I appreciate you choosing your oath over this. But
Good work. Lucky we had you with us today.
You are lucky. Where is Rika?
I hate those things.
There she is.
Take that crown back to Solitude, soldier.
Aye, Captain. Oh, and what shout did I get here? What word wall? What word did I get? Is it a brand new one? Oh no, slow time. That's also useful for this character too. Definitely useful. Especially for a two-handed warrior to be able to dodge projectiles and stuff, because you don't get the added defense from a big old shield with a big old collision box on it. Makes it easier to dodge projectiles. Didn't even get a chance to stand up massacre. Timing was perfect. Yeah. A master is restoration magic. A master in restoration magic, I'm guessing, would be great here. Bane of Undead would make Draugr flee, and some perks like Divine Glory slowly kills those affected over time. And illusion spells like to calm. Yes, indeed. This guy is a pure warrior though, so no magic. At least in terms of gameplay, we're not using any magic. I do have a triumvirate cleric that I've been working on as well. I've streamed him a few times. But I'm really kind of focusing on triumvirate spells with that build. So not really a whole lot of room for other restoration stuff in there. But I might do a Crusader build, which is a Legacy Elder Scrolls class. I definitely will do a Crusader at some point. Just, you know, got to put that into the rotation. Okay, I just got to get this back to Tullius, but I'm getting pretty hungry. I only got about 8 minutes left, so I'm going to start wrapping up the stream here. I did want to give a quick heads up on where I'm going with the channel. Okay, so obviously now I have 4 builds in the works right now. Oh my god, Son came over and wanted to log onto his Google Drive, so I'm like, go ahead, just open a new tab. Now, thinking a lot of it, I just had to reset my password and all that just to rejoin in on chat. Oh yeah, the shared logins for the Google profiles are rough. No, so I do have 4 builds going right now. I have the Guardian series, which is the basic builds: the Warrior, the Mage, and the Thief. But I also do have the Triumvirate Cleric going. Once I get some room in the pipeline to start up a new build, I am going to create a new modding profile in MO2, and I'm going to get rid of All Good and add immersive equipment displays, which Magus has been pressuring me to do for quite some time. He called me a modding boomer a couple times, telling me to get with the times. And I said, chill out, dude. Let me live my life. No, but it's a good point. IED is definitely much better in pretty much every way compared to All Good, All Geared Up. So I do want to switch over to that in the new profile. But with that new profile, the next 2 builds coming after is going to be a Sacrosanct Vampire build. So I'm going to really lean into all the different vampiric powers there. That's going to be a good source of guides for the channel as well, including a full vampire build guide. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And alongside that, on the same profile, I also want to do a triumvirate warlock build. So we're gonna get dark with some of these dark mages, vampires, dark sorcerers. I know a lot of you are fans of that kind of thing in the channel. I'm looking forward. I've been playing some goody two shoes. Pretty sure you're not a baby. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. No, I'm right before the cutoff between Gen X and Millennial. So I am Gen X, but only just barely. Too much security these days that it doesn't even trust the actual user. It's annoying. Yeah, I know, but you really, hackers are amazingly talented these days, and they're all over the world. They're a dozen. It's you really want to lean into protection over kind of anything goes on your machine, especially with Windows. Windows without all those protections is fairly easy to hack if you're not keeping it updated. So be careful out there, even with your browsers. Okay, what was I kind of? Oh yeah, so Triumvirate Warlock and Sacrosanct Vampire are next. Look forward to it. But I still need a lot of work on some of these builds. Warrior is obviously most of the way done. I'm probably about 3/4 of the way. I gotta flesh out some of these shouts that I'm using for the spell shouts and transformations section. Got to I got to fully write out the roleplay considerations here. I do have the framework for that, and then there's only really one gameplay combo I'm working with this build, so that shouldn't take too long. And then just a quick little outro. Once I get that all written, I can voice it, and then I can start splicing the video together and editing. So this character is on the home stretch for sure. It has been for several weeks, but yeah. And next week, I do want to move back to the mage character, so I'll be playing some mage on my own this week off stream, getting that guy ready to go. I kind of stopped playing him not because I wasn't enjoying him. I do enjoy the mage quite a bit, but I do have, between Odin and Apocalypse and Triumvirate, there are just so many spell books to get. If I'm playing a general all-purpose mage, he kind of has to have access to all those spells, right? That's a lot. And if I'm trying to do it all organically, because that's how I learn these builds, to play these builds best. And this is how I flesh out my gameplay styles and roleplay considerations and gameplay combos and things like that, is by taking my time, doing everything slowly, but doing it organically throughout a playthrough. And that's how I get the depth in these build guides that you don't get anywhere else on anybody else's build guides. It takes time, but that's where I'm going with that. But yeah, the mage is going to be next. The mage's perks are all set up. Now it's just a matter of going through all the spells and identifying which ones I want to add to my playstyle. And like I said, that takes a lot of cash in the game, and making that much cash in the game does take time. So I just need to figure out where I ended up with him. As I said, I think his perks are done. It's just now just fleshing out the inventories on that. And I need to get to a spot in that save file where I can start doing I can start a stream there and just get into the gameplay of it and not have to do a whole bunch of inventory management, which is what has been keeping me away from the mage for so long, just because there's a lot of house cleaning and chores to do with that build that I don't have with the other ones right now. Yeah, so once I kind of hang up the warrior here in terms of his build is done, which is very, very soon, I'm going to sort of retire him from streaming, and then that will let me focus on the other 3 characters that I have. And then once I get toward the home stretch in the mage as well, then I can pick up one of those new characters, probably Sacrosanct Vampire. I think will be the next one. Let me just catch up here. Sounds like a joke. A warrior, a mage, and a thief walk into a bar. Yep. I'm pretty sure, Karn, you're not a baby boomer. Yeah, I addressed that. I am not. But sometimes I use boomer generation mods in my mod list when there's a newer, better alternative. Hot tip: guard barracks make great spots for. Oh yeah, I call that the barrack buffet. I've been using that for a long time. That's a tactic that I think a lot of people use. Actually, I've seen Magus do it too, where you go into the guard barracks at most major cities and you just eat everybody who comes along and lays down, and they're sleeping, so they're not going to see you. You're going to be extra sneaky, and you get that vampiric age leveled up really, really quickly. It's a good tactic. Okay, guys. I think that's it for me. Do check the links in the description below if you want to continue this conversation elsewhere. A lot of the familiar faces are going to show up in those Twitch streams, on those YouTube channels, and in those Discords. So do check those out if you want to continue the conversation. Otherwise, I'll be back next week, next Saturday, with the mage, I believe I decided. So yeah, it'll be fun to get back to him. Later, sir. Have a good weekend. You as well. You guys take care. Be well. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.